Khan. Oh no, hold up. There we go. There we go. Khan. All right. First and foremost, I want to say call halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, man. It's Apostle Yahweh of the Masada Israelite School. Uh, y'all hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that comment, type in the comment section, leave a comment. I don't care what it is, bro. I'm having a good day. It's Friday. It's the weekend, and I want to finish up this. I want to finish up this interaction that powerful Captain Cesario did against these 10 Christians, man. And I got a lot coming down the pipeline. Here's a few things, right? Hopefully tomorrow, into tomorrow or Sunday, I'm gonna do a video about what Trump and his administration in Texas is doing with certain people as far as court cases and protest, showing you the Fourth Amendment doesn't mean anything, showing you how the right to assembly doesn't mean anything, showing you how if you disagree with what's going on with traditional Republicans in 2026, it'll get you locked up and they will throw the book at you, right? And all of this is echoes, all of that echoes what you will see, the image of the beast and people being put to death because of the image of the beast, right? Also want to talk about what's going on in San Antonio about how the mayor is trying to get the Kanye West, the Kanye West concert canceled on the 4th of July, right? Even though nobody's with her, just her lobby group, who is, a certain demographic of people, right? a certain demographic of people who is putting a battery in her back to get people to destroy this concert because of what Kanye said in the past. That has to get talked about too, right? Because all of that is going to go into the image of the beast for sure, right? That's either tomorrow or Sunday. Probably going to be Sunday, but I will try to do it tomorrow. That's craziness. But like I said earlier, man, we're gonna do this again. Hit that like button if you love your brethren, right? It's free. It don't cost you nothing. Leave a comment, shoot a comment over here. You Christians, if you have an issue with what I'm teaching, or what we're gonna see here from your Christian fellows who are gonna get confounded, which we're gonna see. Request up. I'll send you the link, and we'll see how it goes with you. Right? Hit the share button. If it be on your heart, just leave a super chat or super thanks, depending on when you're going to watch this video. Or if you want to support us specifically directly, Cash App, that's crazy. Muscle memory, right? Masada DTX, $ Masada DTX, if you want to support us directly instead of giving some of your money to Esau. Yeah, without any further ado, let's jump into this, bro. Let's jump into it. We're going to pick it right where we left off.
What's going on?
All right. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Cool. The prompt, do you mind just reading a prompt?
Yes,
again?
no problem at all.
Yeah.
Christianity is a slave religion. The white man gave you Jesus to keep you oppressed.
I got to disagree with that. I'm obviously a white-looking guy, but I'm of Armenian descent. And our lineage of Christianity goes down back to the disciples. We're actually the first Christian nation, right? And if you look at Armenians, they're the original blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white folks. They're from the Caucasus regions. They're actually mentioned in the Bible as where Noah's Ark landed on the Armenian highlands, and they're mentioned as the cradle of civilization, right? So when Christianity came to Armenia back in 300 AD, it's the first Christian nation. There was a lot of persecution. Saint Bartholomew was skinned alive.
What was he skinned for?
Because he's a Christian. He was practicing Christianity and he was teaching it to the Armenians of the Armenian highland, which is, by the way, like I said, the cradle of civilization, according to the Bible. That's how the earth was repopulated, from the Armenian highlands, right? So Christianity comes to the Armenian highlands. I mean, Armenians are like, you get a lot of olive-skinned ones because there was a lot of and all that kind of stuff. But if you go back in
lineage,
green
or was they black? Because you have black olives and green olives. So which one were they? Were they green? They're the green olives or the black olives?
I don't understand.
You said there was olive skin.
The olives, some of them are olive skin.
So I'm asking you, was they green olive skin or black olive? You have green olives and black olives. Which one? Pick one.
That's a serious question. Well, if you look at my
Well,
dad,
I just want to know because I've never seen a green person.
Well, if you look at my dad's skin tone, it's like
you gotta love that argument. They do that same argument with Christ. They say he's olive colored. So it's he's either green or he's black. Which one is it? Like I just love that argument because it sounds so foolish when you hear them make it. Then when you ask them about it, like Captain Cesariak did, it's like now we're gonna just he's tan skin. Why you didn't just say that? Like that's not what an olive looks like. It's either green or black, bro.
Literally like your skin tone, and he's Armenian, and I'm Armenian, but I'm more.
So you would say more so on the black side of olive skin, not the green side of olive skin.
I really don't understand.
You know, there's two different type of olives, right?
Totally, green and black
so
olives.
I'm asking you, which side do you lean more to, the black olives or the green olives?
I don't understand that question though. I don't
you understand. I mean, he don't want to say, but
how do you not answer? How do you not understand the question? You brought it up. You said he looked olive skin. Olives are green or black. Which one is it? I've never seen a green person. So I've seen plenty of black people. When I wake up and I look in the mirror, I see a black person, right? When I look at my children, I see black people. When I look at my wife, I see black people. When I look at my lineage, I see quote unquote black people. So what color is he? How do you not understand the question?
He don't want to say green because it's alien, and he don't want to say black because he don't want to be black.
Yeah, I think motherfuckers looking like some freaking Marvin the Martian.
Yeah. I don't know about that. I mean, my point.
But when you say that y'all, you said, I think you mentioned something that about y'all being the cradle of
civilization,
Armenia, right?
Armenia, and the first Christian nation too. And it's
who's ever said that? Who's ever said Armenia was the cradle of civilization? Who's ever said that? I've seen people say Africa. I've seen white people, black people, all people say Africa or places round about like the Levant. No, I've never heard anybody say Armenia is the cradle of civilization. Imagine that.
Predominantly white people, and when they became the first Christian nation, they were persecuted. They were just like Saint Bartholomew, who was skinned alive. There was a lot of first
were you
Christians.
Born like in America, or were you born outside of Armenia? Where you?
No, I was born in North America. I was born in Canada.
So in North American history, how did the North Americans, the original indigenous, how did they receive Christianity?
I understand what you're saying, and I know how they, changed
I'm just
the
asking
Bible.
if you can answer it.
Well, there was definitely a force, I guess you could say. But what I'm trying to say is this idea of force in Christianity is not exclusive to black people in terms of.
I'm not talking about black. I'm talking about indigenous North Americans are not black. Like I'm black, like come from the west coast of Africa type of black, right? I believe we're all Israel, like the North Americans are Israel, but they're a different tribe than me. So I'm not talking about black right now. I'm just talking about when the Native Indians and Latinos and Mexicans, when they received Christianity, did they receive it by enslaved enforcement, or did they receive it by preaching? Like how you said your people were persecuted they weren't persecuted for sword or forcing Christianity, right? They were persecuted for they were just teaching. No, that's what I'm saying. They wasn't forcing nobody to be Christians by the sword. They were just teaching, and they was persecuted for it, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, when the Native Indians and Latinos received Christianity, was it by enforce by Christians?
It was definitely, I would say,
and it was enslaved.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why we say Christianity is a slave religion, because when you enslave them, the reason why half the Latinos, Native Indians, and now I will include my people, are Christians is not that they were taught the love of God the right way. They were even without. And I'm gonna make this.
Do we even know that though? Because
history.
What do you mean? What do we know that? What do you mean? What do you mean? Do we know that? Have you seen movies like Antebellum? Have you seen movies like Roots? Have you seen any? What's another? What is that movie? Oh, how I forget that? How I forget the name of that movie? Ooh, how I forget the name of that movie? I'm gonna be mad as hell when I remember it. Ooh, I'm gonna be mad as hell. But all the slave movies. What do you mean? What do you mean? How do we know that? This is what be killing me with Christians. Just let's if we're going to be like Christ, because Christ, it says like multiple times in the Bible. Peter says it, and they say it in one of the Gospels. It's probably in John, where they talk about Christ was a man without guile in his mouth, like trickery. He was an honest man. If y'all are Christians are going to follow Christ, let's be honest. Let's start here. You have to realize, no, not Roots, Armistead too. There's another one. Oh, I forgot. I'm gonna be mad, bro. Oh, I'm gonna be mad. Oh, what was it? It's what the dude was a pastor. He read the Bible. He started reading stuff out of Psalms and started reading out of Exodus, and like it kind of seemed like he realized we were the Israelites, and then he led a slave revolt. I forgot what the name of that is. Not Django. That's my favorite movie. But dang, I forgot. Oh, I'm gonna be mad when I figure out what that is. I'm so disappointed in myself on that one. But like I was saying, Christ was a man without guile. You are supposed to be birth of a nation. Yes, birth of a nation. Because good God, I don't know how I forgot that one. All of these movies that were mentioned, yeah, when Nat Turner, yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. How, like, are we really about to pretend like none of that didn't happen, or we're gonna rewrite history? We received y'all's religion, but not everything that comes from the Nicene Creed, everything that comes with the Trinity, everything that comes with co-substantialism, right? What's another one? The virgin birth, all of these ideologies, we received that through slavery. Y'all whooped our ass, took our culture, and took our belief system that we had prior when we was in Africa, which probably wasn't the best. If you look at all of us, knocked all that out of us and reprogrammed us with the slave Bible. What do you mean? How do we know it wasn't? See, that's what I mean about like Christian. It forces you to be the devil the Bible speaks of. Like, I don't know this man's lineage. You say he's Armenian, so I don't. That, especially being born from Canada, that could mean a lot of different things. But it forces you to be the devil the Bible speaks of. That's how he received it. He's being a little bit better than the devil we saw like on the last live stream. But this is what happens when you have to hold to that religion. You have to deal with uncomfortable facts. Uncomfortable facts meaning that you enslaved the people, not just us, but damn near the damn world, to spread your religion. That happened. Let's start there and then move on. Like Jesus Christ.
That's why I brought up the doctrine of discovery, where there's actual writings where the church authorized the enslavement and enforcement and taking of land by Christians. And then America, when it was founded, had a term called manifest destiny, which drew up in legislation the doctrine of discovery to enforce that as well.
So let me ask you something. Why'd they stay Christian, so many of them? Yeah, they were forced initially, but they found a truth in there. A lot of them stayed Christian. You got a lot of black, Christians, a lot of them, they're very passionate. They're as passionate as we are.
I'm going to tell you exactly why. Fear.
Well, no, but there's no fear today. They could decide I'm done with God. Now I'm done with Jesus.
There's two things. I'm going to finish the fear thing. I'm going to add one more subject to it. I'm going to try to be concise as possible. The fear part is what Stockholm Syndrome is. There's something called buck breaking historically in slavery, where they would take the biggest slaves and they would destroy them in front of the other slaves to teach them a lesson. You better not run. You better not do this. And then they would give us that slave Bible and give us a sense of hope. If you look at what they call Negro spirituals, all of our songs was about dying. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away, because they wanted to get out of that. Swing low, swing chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Then in about
by the way, Armenians have the same thing, and this is the point I'm trying to make. Is it's
wait, I never said anything about skin color. Yeah. That's why when you first said black, I'm naming native.
That be the BS I be talking about, bro. You're not about to equate anything that went on in Armenia with what happened to black people in America. Like, stop. Like, I don't even think I might be wrong, but I don't even think white people would agree with that. That is a crazy statement. Shalawam, see to David Israel. I just don't, like, come on, bro.
Natives and Latinos, we're not talking about skin tone. All right. We only talk about ethnic groups. For example, for us, Bob Marley is a white man because he has a white daddy. So people can understand. We're not talking about skin tone. So then in about the 200s, they came up and they started studying, and they realized that slavery is in our DNA. They discovered it by looking up and studying the patterns of victims of the Holocaust. So when they started observing how Jewish people could suffer from the Holocaust genetically being passed down generation to generation, they then started seeing how Black people suffered the same thing, and how in our genetics is slavery. So when we suffer the fear of white people, the following their religion, accepting this Jesus is love and God loves everybody, that came from enslavement. So we're not Christians. You'll never be able to go back in time. Excuse me, we'll never know if the white man came over here to the Americas and taught us their Christianity through love and expression, like how you're saying, if we would have accepted it or not. We won't. We can only speak in. We can only speak.
Could I clarify one thing? When it came to Armenia, it's not like the word came to Armenia. Now, the people that took on that religion were subject to all kinds of horrors, genocides, getting like literally murdered because they accept. I mean, like literally until today, Armenians are persecuted because of their Christianity. I mean, I'm talking. But that could. But you notice when you speak about the Armenian history, I can't speak for that because that's not my people. So I can't speak for your history. I can speak for my history. Yeah. And the history of the 12 tribes of Israel is that we received Christianity through oppression.
Yeah, and that's what the question's framed off of. It's framed because he framed the question, the prompt, based on how did blacks and Hispanics receive Christianity? It's through slavery. Now, you trying to now pivot it to Armenia. You know, I'm going to tell you something that white people tell us when we have a problem. If you don't like it, leave. See, I wish I had a soundboard. I would have dropped the bomb right there. But if you don't like it, leave. If you want to be Christians, you don't want to be persecuted. And when we complain about the things that go on in America, y'all either say pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, or if you don't like it, leave Armenia. Nobody making you stay there. Oh, does that hurt your feelings? Oh, I wonder how black people feel when y'all say that. like that, we're not gonna do that. We're like just like equating what goes on and what has gone on, the history to Armenians with black people is just it's astounding. It's outright astounding.
We didn't receive it through love.
Oppression and violence, though. What I'm trying to say is that
oppression and violence, it's like when you enslave a people. I don't know if you ever heard of the mice and the cherry tree experiment. You should look it up. Okay. And with the mice and cherry experiment, I'll be brief. They put these mice in this box. They put a cherry tree in the middle of it. The mice love the cherry tree. They used to go to the cherry tree where they get their food. And then they put an electrical device under, like surrounding the cherry tree. So every time they would go to that tree, they would get shocked. They got shocked so much that even though they left the tree there, they would never go around that tree. Yeah, then they removed the electric shock. So there's no electric shock. But because the mice and the children that they had, they still would not go to that cherry tree because even the baby mice, let me finish. Yeah. Even the baby mice had the memory not to go to that tree.
I understand.
And what it took, they had to breed the mice with other mice that never experienced that or memory of that cherry tree, 6 or 7 generations for them to go to that tree. So what I'm telling you is slavery did such a number on blacks and Latinos that you don't need to whip.
So you don't need the change.
That's what I wanted to highlight too. I meant to say that earlier. Like when they brought us over here, they wiped out our language. They wiped out our belief systems, our mannerisms. Our mannerisms became their mannerisms. It's the same. What's crazy is when you read like in 1st and 2nd Maccabees about how the Grecians forced us to become Greeks, they did that same exact thing. And in Maccabees, it was said we did that so much to where we ended up forgetting the Torah. Our children grew up calling themselves Hellenes or wherever their province that they live in, right? Corinthians, Ephesians, things like that. That happened historically, and we can read it in the Bible, right? And even if you want to be a Christian and say, "Oh, I don't accept the Apocrypha," that's literal common history. You can pick up any book about what happened with Hellenism and the Jews. Like I think there's a book called Hellenism and the Jews, where you can literally read that. And that same exact thing happened to black people over here. We became a blank slate that they wrote on, and our signature became their signature. I mean, their signature became our signature. That's why we continue to do that. That's why like I said this at camp like a few months ago, that's why your grandmother and your grandfather believed in the Trinity. That's why your aunt and your uncle are in the church. That's why your sister's praise dancing is because that was taught to, well, the praise dance, we came up with that. Y'all don't have the rhythm to even y'all don't have the rhythmic fortitude to even do such a thing. But what I mean is the Christianity aspect that was taught to us being a blank slate, and we continue to perpetuate it through our generations as we were enslaved and oppressed by them. That's why we are like that. That's what happened.
Generationally,
so
they're
they still
still
accept
traumatized. So you don't just accept Christianity. We accept every white American way. You don't like. You see how I'm not experienced talking about your Armenian experience because I'm not Armenian.
Yeah.
So I don't know the pain that your ancestors. Let me finish.
Okay.
I don't know the pain that your ancestors went through.
Yeah.
But when I go to my people and tell them about the pain that white people caused us, they still fight me to love white people. But if I flip it and I start talking about the Jewish and Palestinian war, they pick a side.
Mm-hmm.
If I talk about what happened with the Japanese, they pick a side. If I talk about what happened with Africans, they pick a side. If I talk about what happened with black people, they pick a side. But when I talk about what white people did to us, they refuse to pick a side except me being their enemy for calling white people on their wickedness. So when I can see them can point out wickedness from everybody else, but when it comes to the white man, they can't. That is what slavery did to them.
I don't know. That's like you're trying to put a blanket thing, like a blanket description on a whole group of people to basically reject the white person. And the point I'm trying to make is that the reason we even have Christianity in modern American culture is because of a bunch of white individuals that look white, that were subject to all kinds of horrors. They had to literally carry the cross of Christianity for 2,000 years. Otherwise,
I would disagree.
We wouldn't have Christianity in the United States if it wasn't
that
for the
would
original
be the
Christian
best thing
cultures,
that can happen.
like the Greeks, like the Assyrians, like the Armenians. These are the ones that carry the cross of Christianity, and they're all white people.
No, they're not.
What I want people to notice. What I want people to notice with this. Let me show you the internalized racism. He's saying the reason why we Americans have Christianity, well, you say the West, the reason why the Western people have Christianity is because of white people. That's what he says. Now, if we ask this same Christian, where did we first make contact with Christianity or the Bible, they'll pull up something in Africa, right? And say, we've been Christians this whole time because of the Ethiopians and various other people. They will say that if you press them on it. But where is their credit? Where's their credit? White people referred back to the Ethiopian literature and their preservation of the Bible. But for some reason, the only people who receive credit for carrying the torch of Christianity are white people. And if that's the case, these same white people also enslaved black people. And the world, but black people and Hispanic people and Native American people. So good, it's cool they believed, quote unquote, believed in Christ, but how can we even trust that Christ if that Christ allowed you to enslave us? That's the problem. And if we press them on it about that, we'd be like, oh, if we press them on to like, how could they be true Christians if they enslaved us? He'd say they're not true Christians. Well, if they're not true Christians, how did they carry the torch for 2,000 years? Like if you sit back and think about the BS that they spout, it really don't really hold no weight. Y'all don't have nothing this guy doesn't have anything biblically. I haven't seen this. Everything we're about to watch from when I started this on to the end, I haven't seen. Right, as I want this to be organic. But as of right now in this conversation, he hasn't introduced anything biblically or any compelling points against this. He's just arguing for Armenian pain, right? And you know what I'm gonna say? The same thing white people say to us: stop being a victim. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. So get over it. Move on. If you don't like it, leave. I'm gonna say this: tough titty, right? That's what it is. That's what it is. Tough titty. It sucks. I mean, that happened. That was the past. Why are you pulling the race card? Right? The same things. I could say that to you. That's what these people do. That's what these Christians like. That like the only reason we're talking about this like this and not going to the Bible is because they refuse to. And if you're not going to go to the Bible, we can still deconstruct your arguments and your belief system off of what you say. Right? Sirach talks about wisdom will be known in speech. So we understand your belief system and your standpoints by what you say, and we can deconstruct them. Even in your non-biblical points, you have a problem. It's this problem. I say this a long time. It's problematic, bro. I'm getting a soundboard. That's the end of that. I'm getting a soundboard. I need to be doing like Ugly Money Nietzsche. That's what I need to be doing.
People,
well,
yeah.
the Israelites,
Greeks and Armenians are all physically white people.
Now, when you start saying that's the difference between you and I, because
what about the Jews? I'm not gonna keep stopping.
Greeks conquered parts of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Greeks conquered Israel. Greeks and Romans, I just put them all together. Conquered parts of Africa, conquered parts of Israel, etc. So a Greek could be an Israelite. A Greek could be in melanin, because if you, just like in America, you're Armenian, I'm black. Another guy might be Jewish. We're all America. We can all be American because in North America, there's many different ethnicities. So in Greek and Roman, as they conquered the known world at that time, any race could be considered a Greek by nationality, but not ethnically. Like,
and a pure example of that is where Paul said he was a Roman, and then in Romans 11, he said in verse 1, he says he's an Israelite, of the tribe of Benjamin. It's citizenship. And that's the same stuff I try to show Jim Green, but he's so retarded. He's still making videos. This man to this day has made 32 shorts of me and making videos about me. But I'll try to show you, but those connotations, like a Roman or a Greek, they changed over time. It didn't denote a race. It denoted citizenship. That's how white people looked at things at that time, and still how they do now in the 2026.
Paul was an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin, even though he was a Roman citizen. So you can't say that these was all white people. We can see in the Dark Ages, black people ruled Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Black people ruled Europe for 1,000 years. They called them Negro boy. Benjamin Franklin said, we don't want Europe to be black, America to be black like Europe. So when you make that blanket statement that everybody was white, that's a lie.
No, the original Christians.
The original Christians were called the end.
Bro, where you gonna go to prove that? Well, so hold up. Let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep going, and then we're gonna double back to. He said the original Christians were all white people. I don't even think Jewish scholars would even admit that. Like, what are we talking? Like,
Acts 13:1, when they called the disciples Barnabas and Simeon, that was called Niger. That word means black. And in Acts 11:26, that's when they were called Christians first. So Christ was a Jew. He was black. Paul was black. Paul was mistaken for an Egyptian. He was not mistaken for a Roman. So when you say that they was white, you're lying, because the Bible says something different. The Bible said that Christ had woolly hair.
No,
that image that they give of Jesus Christ, is it woolly or stringy?
I'm not going to argue, because
that is the argument, because
the Bible, because you don't have anything. As soon as he goes to the Bible, now we're not arguing the Bible. That's Christianity. Because when we open up that book, it weighs too much for them to lift it up.
If you're saying the original Christians were white, but the original disciples of Christ were black.
Original nations that adopted Christianity. You could look it up. It's history. Armenia,
I'm not talking about AD. See, now 400
AD Georgia. They're both white
now think about what you said,
and they both had to deal with.
But think about what you said. But think about what you said. You said 300 and 400 AD.
Yeah.
But when you say original Christians, and in the Bible, Acts 11 and 12,
I'm talking about original Christians after the disciples. Yeah.
No, okay. But see, now, because I know a little bit, you're changing it. Because white people are used to just saying something out loud, and then once they challenge, they remix it. So if you want to go to 3rd and 4th century, that's fine, because now you talk about 400 and 500 AD. But before 400 and 500 AD, the Israelites that were called Christians would be melanated. They would not be white. So as they're carrying that and teaching other Israelites, they would also be black. So as they're called Christians, they would not be originally white. Now, did white people come and adopt the ways? No argument there. If you want to say the Armenians adopted it, no argument there, because they're the ones that came and then started murdering blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians and forcing them.
Who did?
You can start with the Catholic Church. You can start with the Protestants. Thanksgiving is celebrated every.
This wasn't exclusive to black. This wasn't exclusive.
You talk about that? I'm not. No, that's not what I'm saying.
The violence was everybody was getting.
That's why I'm not fighting.
Yes, that doesn't help you. Yeah, y'all went around and conquered Christians. I talked about this last time. According, the Pope gave an authorization for white people, white Christians, to go around and conquer and colonize and enslave colored people, not just black people, not just Hispanic people, not just everybody who we believe are Israelites, non-white people, and do violence on them. That's what they did. It doesn't matter if the violence wasn't just black people, right? It's even worse that you even say this in the first place. Y'all went around and did that. What are we talking about, bro? What are we talking about?
Fighting you on your experience, but I'm not. I never said that we own violence, that we own slavery. We don't. I never said we're the only people that's been enslaved. But on the subject of how we received Christianity, we received it through enslavement. And one last thing I want to say.
Everybody else.
But no, one last thing I want to say. When we came to Christianity, we received it through enslavement. And one last thing I want to say.
So that's damning. We received Christianity through enslavement, through what quote unquote the original Christians, right? He says, so did everybody else. So is that a good thing? Does that then make your belief system correct? That's not a standpoint you take to try to argue against the prompt. Or even a good standpoint to have if you're a Christian in general. Where is your, like, y'all should have got vocab or something.
Everybody else.
But no, one last thing I want to say. When we came from the west coast of Africa, we knew we was Israelites. It wasn't no thing to not know you was an Israelite when we came over here from the west coast of Africa. That's why on the ancient African map it says land of Judah, because they knew the Jews was in Africa and they were the ones sold. So we didn't need your Christianity, sir. We didn't need that at all.
All right.
Yeah, get your ass up, bro.
It's cool, man. You was all right.
Get your ass up.
What's up, bro?
I ain't your brother, but it's all right. What's up? Have to make sure
expression. I didn't actually mean to call you that.
Yeah,
I know. Expression.
I know.
Just like you disrespectfully wear glasses.
Why do you think that's disrespectful?
I don't know. It's pretty disrespectful to me.
Oh, you know what you can say? You can say, hey, Cat, can you take the glasses off? I'll take the glasses. Ain't no big deal.
There we go.
See how easy that is?
Look at that. More respectful a little bit.
I don't think it's disrespectful to wear glasses, though.
It's all right. So what are you doing here, bro? Like, what are you trying to do? What do you think? You think God's up in heaven and he's black, and you think he's like, oh my special man?
Does God have woolly hair?
Yeah, sure. It says white as wool, but it doesn't say it's woolly. It says white as wool. So that's a description of color.
It
probably
doesn't say woolly. It says white as wool.
It says white as wool, but either way, it's irrelevant.
No problem.
So you think God's up there?
Well, let me answer the first question. You said, what am I doing here?
No, what are you doing here? What's your goal?
When I have these debates, right? You know, we got my good brother. What's your name again? Brandon. We got my good brother Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon, this ain't no disrespect to you at all, but Brandon is not good business for me. What I mean by that is, if two black people are having this conversation, it doesn't wake my people.
Just real quick. So, like, you OT onlys really kind of kill me. Why don't y'all ever build a legitimate platform? Why do y'all have to go where people have a platform, prove their points, and actually debate their cause, and have to go and just heckle them? Oh, you Mexicans don't do this. That's not even the point. They're like, everything you're saying about Mexicans, it doesn't. Who cares? That's not even what we're talking about today. Y'all don't have anything. Go build a platform that Israelites can respect. It's really an impossible task, but you know what I'm saying. Go build a platform that people can actually respect. And once people actually start watching people like you, when you finally get more than 10 to 20 views, then we could ask for your opinion, right? Then we could give a actual flying fuck about your opinion, right? That, like, it's just like that. It's just like that, bro. Freaking, like, you gotta really think about something like this, right? So look at this real quick. He says, I'm about to get back to this. It says, did Latinos come off the west coast of Africa? Do we teach that? Have we ever taught that? You don't even try to attempt. Also, Shalawam Yasif, I believe that's how you say it, right? You can correct me if I'm wrong. Do we you don't even try to attempt to learn what we believe in as far as what you would say, quote unquote, the 12 tribe chart, or who we believe the Israelites are in their various locations. You didn't even attempt to learn that. You just started talking. Nobody's ever taught that. We believe, you know, the 10 tribes who actually were let go from Salmanazar's captivity went to a land which people didn't know. Even the Jewish man writes that, right? And they say that land was America. You also see a so-called white man sell the 7 seas after reading that in second Ezra to go to America, and brought Hebrew speaking people with him to go translate the Hebrew to talk to these specific people. And then he enslaved them. But that's what ended up happening. You have pre-colonial Hebrew written in New Mexico before they got there, but that's just a coincidence. We have their walls being besieged. When you see that happen over there in Tenochtitlan, right? Their king was taken. Matter of fact, it's easier. It's easy. And I'm gonna be honest with this. I've been telling black people this. It's easier to prove Latinos or Israelites than it is for black people, right? And when you go look at Deuteronomy 28, a lot of black people are gonna have problems if you're not studied. There's more recent than black people, more recent history to prove it in an easier fashion than it is for black people, right? Like, come on. Like, come on, bro. These Mexicans were not in Egypt, right? That's fine. And you're not in here. How about that? You're not in here. How about you go build a platform that we respect, and we'll revisit this conversation? Because I'll tell you what, I got a lot in the chamber with that. A whole lot.
But look, as good as it is to have y'all, you white people up here, so that I can break the mental chains that your people have done to my people. So when you sit here and try to act innocent, well, now I won't say you yet, but when the people get up here, like this man behind me, and when I ask him, how did we receive slavery? And he won't answer the question, my people will see a white man try to lie his way out of the truth. And I wake up more of my people when I battle your people. So you're the prop, so that I can wake up my people.
So, and I'm gonna say that too, just real fast. I don't want to keep stopping. I just stopped a minute ago, right? That's why I post things like how we post when we interact with Edomites. They're more willing to have a discourse or a debate about what the scriptures say. When we post that, right, a lot of Israelites run to go watch that, whether it be people who are sub to the channel or people who are not sub to the channel, and it gets this word out. Oh, this is how you can find the white people. That looks profound to our people. I say that because you have a lot of Israelites. Why are you guys talking to non-Israelites? Because that's what helps spreads the message. They can be used as teaching tools, like how he just said it right here. That's how we use them. It's not about appeasing you. It's seeing us want to just talk to Black and Hispanic people. Because when we do that, you know what the views look like? Zero. Well, not zero, but it's a massive disparity between us confounding an Edomite versus us talking to Israelites, or even confounding Israelites.
So your goal here is to wake up the people, and
my people.
Yeah, your people. Right. Your special people, right?
Right.
Because you're different than me. Even though we have the same blood and everything else, you're somehow different.
Yes,
you're special. Better. You're special.
I'm better. The Bible said, Deuteronomy 7:6, it says,
Jesus said, preach this gospel to every creature.
Wait, before we get to that part, Deuteronomy 7:6 says, for thou art a holy people, that God chose thee to be special unto himself. Does it say that about the children of Israel?
Why do you think he said that?
And it says above all nations. Did he say that? Before we get to why, does it say that?
Sure.
So if it says that, then it's not I that think I'm special. It's God that think I'm special.
Okay, so who was your great grandfather? What's his name?
Is that guy still here that says strive not after genealogy? You see that right
Oh,
there?
no. I'm
have,
asking you because that's what you're pandering to. So I'm
not
asking you, do you even know the name of your great grandfather? Do you know his
your
name?
ancestors made sure I don't know.
No, you don't know the name of anything. You know nothing. In fact, you think you know something because you have a little bits of pieces that you've pulled from history and you think it's relevant. And you're like, oh, but that's the story that a bunch of people that were in power gave you.
No,
so they gave you a story that you don't even know that's true.
Did not give me that. People in power gave me white Jesus.
No, the
people in power told me all nations God love. People told me God was all. The same people that murdered my ancestors told me God loved. That's what the powers that be gave me. It was the humble people. It was the low people. Zephaniah 2:1 says, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. The nation that was not desired is who told me who I was. Gave me my identity, gave me the laws of God. So whereas y'all are
what
slaves
makes you think
to
you
sin,
know history?
What history?
You
that, like what makes you think you're smart, nigga? That's what he really said. Like what makes you think you know history? What makes you think you know history? Look at this guy. What makes you think you know history? Esau swear he know history, but when you go ask them questions based off of history, you see it's just nothing but dodging. And I bet you I haven't seen this. It's all organic. We're about to see. I bet you we're gonna see this proceed a little bit further, and Captain Cesar is gonna ask him a history question, and he's gonna run from it. That's what I think is going to happen. Let's see if I'm a prophet.
You think you know history?
What history? I never said I knew history. What history are you talking about?
The history to determine what you are, what you think you are.
The Bible gives
me
my history.
How does that connect to you?
So, for example, in Deuteronomy 28:68, when it says, "You shall be brought into Egypt again with ships, and you shall be sold for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you." The word Egypt means what?
It's Egyptians. The people of Egypt.
The original name is Matazarium or Mitzrayim.
Yeah.
Why is it Egypt? Because Egypt means bondage. So the Lord punished the children of Israel with a bondage that they would never get out of by ship. The transatlantic slave trade.
And Jesus set you free.
It had nothing. That's what I'm talking about. You had nothing for that. You had nothing for that. Like, that's what I mean about, like, this, him and the dude before him, they come up with this white pride. If you're gonna talk to Hebrew Israelites, let me see, let's just say the top two verses you're gonna hear is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, Deuteronomy 7:6. How do you not have any other answer except the word Jesus? But we don't know things. I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I can come up with a better scoff than this. That's why nobody respects y'all. Jesus Christ, bro.
Absolutely.
So then why are you still sitting here in bondage, bro?
I never said I was in bondage. I said what was prophesied. When did I say I was in bondage? You're looking at a free man.
No, you're not, dude.
You know who's in bondage?
Do you keep
a black man that would sit here and try to save you as you hate him?
No, dude.
I'm not. You say you call me brother?
Yeah.
A slave would acknowledge and say, "Hey, brother." A free man would say, "What? You're not my brother." Because you're not.
Like,
you're the one that's nothing to me.
A racist, disrespectful man would say that.
Man that the Bible says, "Hear not the prayer of the dead Israelites." My dead ancestors would hate me if I called you my brother.
That sounds
They would abhor me if I, yes, they would.
So racist.
Because they would say,
so wicked.
"How could that?"
How is that wicked? How is that wicked? The dead Israelites who he's talking about are the people who died by the hands of your people. And he's saying his people would roll over in their grave and hate him for acknowledging them as acknowledging that Edomite as his brother. How is that wicked? And that's what I mean. I said this when I was in Austin last week. Y'all assign no value to the black life whatsoever. And since you don't assign any value to the black life, it's okay for us to see the plight of our people in history and feel and have to not feel anything for it, not be upset, not be angered. We have to just look past it and call y'all our brother too. That's what y'all want us to do. Y'all don't assign no value to our life. if you did, we wouldn't be wrong in your eyes to feel a certain type of way. We wouldn't be wrong. But since you, it's crazy. He's calling him racist, but this is evidence of his racism. Like, this is absolutely crazy.
Man, be your brother.
You're like,
how could that man be your brother?
Because you're a human, bro. I'm a human.
Right.
You got
so why didn't you treat us like humans?
hands. I got hands.
Hey,
the color of my skin.
People allowed to hate? Are white people allowed to hate Carmelo Anthony?
I don't even know who that is, bro.
Carmelo Anthony just got found guilty for unaliving a white man. Are white people allowed to hate him?
I don't know who that is, and I don't care.
Y'all about to celebrate. Y'all about to celebrate 250 years with the 4th of July, right?
I don't celebrate the 4th of July, bro.
Okay, so are white people allowed to hate?
Please.
The British?
I don't hate anybody.
Yeah, see, that's your problem.
I walk with Jesus, bro. I walk in love.
Did Jesus hate?
Nah, I don't think we're supposed to.
Luke 19:27, Christ said, bring hither those that I should rule over them and slay them before me. Did he hate? When Christ beat them out the temple, when Christ made a scourge of cords,
wickedness. When people that abhor to wickedness, that's
did he beat them out the temple?
Yeah, but that would be
hate.
No, I don't think that's hate.
What is it?
So I think that's pointing out that it's wicked.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make these cords. I'm just gonna beat you. Y'all take this whipping real, but I don't hate y'all.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid.
I know.
Like a lot of your arguments. But anyways, so here's what I'm gonna point out. Is here, just so you know a little bit of history.
What book are you reading?
This is called American Antiquities and Discoveries in the West.
Okay.
So you wanted to talk about the slave stuff. I'm going to read you just a little bit of stuff. Check this out. It says a multitude of
and black people had slaves. This is
languages existed in America, which perhaps reduced to 25 radical languages.
Is there a timeline for this?
Yeah, in the 1700s, but I think it's referencing even earlier. I think it references.
Does it reference before y'all slaughtered us?
Yeah, this is like this is all the coming
all
of,
y'all doing it, right?
Of the people
in the 1700s,
coming.
Y'all was doing that.
You keep saying you, but you realize Christopher Columbus was a Jew, and I'm not Jewish. So
Christopher Columbus,
you mistaken me.
Oh, here's what y'all don't know, and I'll free your mind. So-called Jewish man and white people are the same tribe.
No,
they're not different.
There's
y'all
are
the Dukes of Edom. The Jewish man is just peak white, in the words of Elon Musk. He's your peak white. He's your creme de la creme white. And your big brother won't share with y'all. And that's what y'all hate. Y'all hate that. That's why y'all hate the Jewish man, because he won't share with y'all.
I've never even had that thought in my head. How could I hate that?
He's your brother.
I have no. You don't even know.
Jewish man's your brother.
So you think Jesus is like black, and you think that
I think Jesus is a Jew.
Okay, so was he black or was he white?
Black is a modern construct. So when we say black,
it is absolutely. In fact, do you know what a black person back in the day was? It was actually a slave. In fact, that's why it points out that if a person was black, they were marked as a slave. In fact, it came from the root word Slav. So a lot of black people in history are slaves for white people.
For example, in Acts 13
from Slavic region.
In Acts 13:1, the word Niger means black too. That's where the term. That's where the N word comes from. That. So when we say black, it's from that. So when you ask me what Christ is a Jew first.
Okay.
When you actually describe his look, then I would say he has an afro. He has skin of bronze, as if he burned in the furnace, because that's what the Bible says.
Because that's okay. Got it.
To show how y'all hate Jesus. You know how much y'all hate Jesus?
No,
y'all make a white one, because y'all would never serve a black king.
I don't make a white Jesus.
Yes,
actually,
is your Jesus black or white?
I think he's probably tan. I think he's red.
Is your Jesus got an afro?
I think he's red.
Your Jesus got an afro?
He might have, but
so you would serve a black king? You should get ready.
I think he's red, and I don't think you even know what red people look like, because they went.
You're red.
No, that's not red. No. I'll show you in this.
I'm thinking of what a red person. Look at him. What color is this? What color is this?
Look what red actually looks like. And it actually says it. It says Adam was made from the clay, and Adam is actually
Adam
a root
was made
word
from the dust.
Yeah, no, it says specifically he was from the red clay.
I'm sorry. I wouldn't say dust.
It's from the earth of red. It actually references to the word red.
From the ground.
Yeah, no, yeah,
but you can have a red cow, but that cow is brown though.
Why do you think they even talk about a red heifer and all this business?
But
like there was brown. people. They were red.
Have you ever seen a red cow?
Bro, red people don't exist anymore because they went
extinct. If you saw a red cow.
Yeah, sure. I've seen it.
It's brown, isn't it?
Mostly, yeah, but it does have a little component
like,
of red.
When it says Esau came out red and hairy all over, like
that's
a garment,
different.
That's you. Y'all a cave dweller. Y'all Esau.
Red. Yeah, so David was ruddy.
Like
David was ruddy because he was red.
The ruddy of David and Esther was talking about their beauty. That's why you.
No, it's talking about the color of the skin.
This was the beauty of even. Wait. This is the beauty of English. Because the English translators knew that Esau's red was not the ruddy of David and not the ruddy of Esther. That's why they use a different English.
Just real fast, have y'all noticed how like we're going about like 20-ish minutes? You notice how they still not open up that book one time? Why wouldn't it be more like important to show Hebrew Israelite if we're supposed to be this demonic cult? Right, this demonic racist death cult. That's what we're supposed to be. Wouldn't it make more sense to go in the scriptures and then try to confound it? Because the only thing you're gonna just say, you're gonna just talk and say, "Oh, you're racist." What? Black people don't care about that. I need y'all to understand, because if you're trying to get us to leave what we believe in, right, or not get Black or Hispanic people to not believe in what we believe in, right, just saying we're racist does not do anything. Like in 2026, like I work with like 3 or 4 Black people at my job who do not like y'all and despise y'all, and they are not Hebrew Israelites. It is 2026. We have seen the AIPAC agenda. We have seen the white supremacy agenda. We have seen all these things that's happened to. We saw what happened with Chud the Builder, and imagine he gets off. That'd be crazy. Us in Texas have seen Carmelo Anthony get the book thrown at him, right? And all the Black jurors who could have been Black jurors were marked off and removed from the case. We've seen all of that and seen what y'all do to us. Just saying we're racist is not going to move anybody. You need to open up. I need to start bringing that in here. I got like 8 Bibles in this house, and I got none of them in this room, right? The Bible, right? It is too high and too heavy for y'all to lift up. It is too high and too heavy for y'all to lift up. That's why y'all do this. This is why y'all get on there and do this. You're not moving the needle at all to move people into believing what y'all believe in, or to move us from believing what we believe in. You're doing a fruitless endeavor. Just go and just go in the Bible. Pull out a Bible verse. Hey, you even use John 3:16. Y'all could have just kept running that back and forth instead of doing this. Like, do something. Pull the Bible out and start breaking something down.
English word to translate the same Hebrew word,
two totally different things.
Because Hebrew has one word can have multiple definitions. So David was just a fly-looking cat. Esther was a beautiful-looking woman.
Actually, David was actually red-skinned, and Esau was red and hairy, which meant, but typically white
Esau
with
was
red hair.
Caveman. I think,
actually, he wasn't even a caveman. He was actually.
Which one of y'all said?
He actually wasn't just. It wasn't even just a caveman.
In the Bible, it says Esau dwelt in the cleft of the rock. He's the cave dweller.
Let me read
y'all
you this.
Are Edomites.
Yes.
Yeah. So what? And we're gonna ignore that too. He dwelled in the cleft of the rock. That's what Obadiah says. I think Jeremiah says that too.
So you don't even know what that means. No, you don't even. What does a Gentile mean to you? A non-Jew?
No, actually.
What does it mean to you?
Gentile, by definition, just means nation.
Yeah.
In context, it could apply to a non-Israelite or an Israelite. You got to read the sentence, and if the sentence implies that it's a non-Israelite,
I'm going to give you a better definition. So in the book of Enoch, it talks about the fallen angels that came down. Yeah, and it mentioned there is.
But
So like, I'm sorry. Ain't no way you talk for 15 minutes and the one time you open up the Bible, we going out of Enoch? You talking about the book of Enoch that's pre-Diluvian, quote unquote. Somehow we got the text for a pre-Diluvian book or before the flood book, something that there is no manuscript for, right? You saying he doesn't know history? Nigga, that book ain't got no manuscripts. A white man woke up one day and started writing the book of, quote unquote, the book of Enoch. You spoke for 15 minutes and now want to pull out the book of Enoch? Oh my God. Oh my days. Oh my days.
Vagina is not that good, man.
Let me just explain to you real quick.
Y'all think vagina is so good, angels want it. Angels don't want the vagina. Listen, I love vagina
to you real quick.
But the angels don't love vagina that much where they're going to disobey God and sleep with women.
Okay, so, and it's referenced also in the book of Genesis in chapter Genesis 6,
vagina
all right?
is good, though.
So here's the deal. So what happened was these beings created children called giants, and those giants is actually where you get the word Gentile. It's giantile. It means descendant of giants.
I thought it was
Nephilim.
Yeah, that's.
I know you fucking lying. Look, bro, scary hour started early. I know you fucking lying. You saying the word Gentiles come from giant tiles? Look. Like there's no we're about to go and confound this. That just don't say that. It just don't say that, bro.
Yeah, exactly. It is the same root word.
Wait.
So Nephilim,
but if
giants,
do you believe in the Bible?
Nephilim, of course.
Okay, so when you say those giants, right?
Yeah. So that's why it's called Gentile.
Wait, hold on. Does it say that there was giants after that?
Yeah, it says before and after.
So then if there was giants after that and only 8 people survived the flood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the fallen angels?
That's a really good question.
Giant tiles. The giant tile. So okay, if that's the case, and he believes that you believe a Gentile is anybody outside of Israel. So everybody in comparison to Israel was a giant then. He was say no, bro. Giant tiles. Is this your king? Is this your king?
There's a whole lot of theories about it. And I don't think we need to get into it, but I could explain it to you.
I just want for my listening audience, stop believing fallen angels and that they had sex with women. They did not.
So they actually made it with animals afterwards, because afterwards it says they were still there.
That's you people. Well, y'all have sex with animals. Bestiality, that's white people shit. Y'all be looking at that lamb and be like, that's good vagina. That's good meat. That's good to get into sleep with.
But just see, this is why, this is just a quick segue. This is why I don't want this, right? So it says the Texas, look at this, I don't know if y'all can read that. You probably can't. I'm just gonna read it. So this came out today. The Texas, I messed it up my line. Oh Lord, hold up. There we go. Right. So it says Texas became the first United States state to require Bible readings in public schools. I am avidly against that. I do not want white Christians teaching my son the Bible, right? And this is why. You're going to come home and your son is going to tell you the word Gentile comes from giant tiles. That's what's going to happen. That's why I do not want this. I argued with somebody at my job about that the other day. I do not want that. I do not want y'all teaching my kids the Bible. I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna have to now do a whole bunch of work, freaking trying to what they say, brainwash. I gotta like this is brainwashing. Like I gotta wash that away and then install the correct truth. Giant tiles, bro. The angels mated with animals. Now, and of course you're getting that out of the book of Enoch. A so-called white man wrote that. That's pseudepigrapha. That's super pseudo book, right? Of course, a white man said that because that's what y'all do. Just like how Captain Desire said, that's what y'all do. So of course you would write that in the book. Jesus Christ, bro! These people got to be like you have to be eradicated.
With the goat, sleep with the dogs. All you gotta do is just look up. White women sleep with them horses and dogs. Y'all sleep with them horses and dogs and lambs and animals. And y'all ain't the only ones. Them Africans do that shit too.
Here, let me just tell you something. Let me teach you something. Check it out.
But them Africans, they sleep with them.
Okay. Let me read you. Okay. So you don't. Okay. So the multiple language, it says, but they are unlike those of Hebrew. It says.
Can you read from the top so I could...
Okay, yeah, it says a multitude of languages exist in America, which are perhaps reduced down to 25 radical languages, descendants by 25 different radical languages and 2,000 dialects, but they are unlike that of Hebrew, which is really interesting because a lot of people want to claim there's like some Hebrew roots over here. But it says they're more alongside Sanskrit, Celts, Basque, Berber, Libyan, Egyptian, Persian. And it says in America cannot have sprung about from a single nation because independent of their languages, their features and their complexions are as various as that in Africa as well as Asia. And we find in America white, tawny, brown, yellow, olive, copper, and even black nations, black as in Africa. They had to specify because black people originally meant slaves, by the way, at this time. So that's why they say black as in Africa. Also dwarfs and giants, handsome and aquiline features, or handsome and ugly features, flat and aquiline noses, which that's another thing that have to do with the noses differences. And it also says, it talks about this, and American Indians worship but one God, the great Yahweh. Okay. And so, and this is
who did they say worship the one God?
The what? The what God? no, Kasami, you said this too early. You said this too early. You said this too early. This man, hold up. You said this too early. I ain't never seen nobody cut them. Well, no. This is as bad, Kasab. This is as bad as Wednesday camp when that dude tried to say we didn't have to keep the commandments, and his precept was Revelation 22 about this is blessed are they that keep the commandments. This is as bad as that. He said he started this off with his resource to say that, oh well, it couldn't have came from Hebrew roots, right? It could. These people who were he's talking about the original Native Americans, they couldn't come from Hebrew roots because of all these reasons. They all worshiped one single God. Let's see what that single God's name was.
The American Indian differences. And it also says, it talks about this, and American Indians worship but one God, the great Yahweh. Okay.
Yahweh. Oh my God. I need to find this book. No, I need this book. They worship Yahweh. Oh my God. Who's Yahweh? I want you to tell me who Yahweh is.
Okay. And so, and this is
who did they say worship the one God?
The American Indians worship but one God. In fact, it's really fascinating because multiple Native American cultures, like on the East Coast all the way to the West Coast, had a different name for the God that they worshiped. One of it was Yahweh, it was Yehovah, Yahuwah, Yeshua, and
all the names that the various Hebrew Israelites in 2026 believe God is God's name and believe that's Christ's name. Imagine that, bro. Imagine that. You want to change the pronunciation? Yeah, look, bro. You got look.
And you're like, this is what they call their great God. And you kind of got to look at that and go, that's pretty weird. Wonder where they got that name.
Well, I could actually answer that for you. So,
okay.
And this goes back to the gentleman that was saying, without Christianity, we wouldn't have that. You can get another.
They worshiped this before we got there, though. They had these names.
I'm about to answer you.
Sure.
So, in the Bible, if you go to 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, they tell you that the northern kingdom or the 10 tribes traveled to the Americas. It was called Arsareth. Okay. So when they came over here, they started observing the Native Indians, their customs. And when I'm saying Native Indian, I'm talking about all the different factions. And so there's a good book called Lost Tribes in Promised Land. And when you read that book, Montezinos is talking to these Seminole Indians. When he greets the Seminole Indians, they say, Shema Yasha'Allah Yahweh Allahayanawa Yahweh Akkad, which means, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one God.
Yeah, do you know why they say that?
Let me finish.
Sure.
He says, I myself am from the tribe of Reuben, and my brother Joseph is on an island nearby. So they understood that they were the children of Israel.
Yeah, they call them Indios. Indios means children of Israel.
So we didn't need to get enslaved by white people with their Christianity because we already knew we were the children of Israel. So that information is kind of backing up.
No. Yeah. I look, bro. There's what does God logic say? He dies in his own source. This is crazy.
No, it's actually more to it. In fact, it says all the ancient religions were found in America.
While accept you though, still you're trying to be on my side.
No, all the ancient religions were found in America.
Never trust thine enemy.
which have prevailed. I'm not your enemy, but that's right. Which have prevailed in the old world, the earliest as theism, Saism, Magism, Hinduism, Shamanism, Fetishism, but no Judaism was found in the America, which is very fascinating.
But see, that's why I'm saying this source is bullshit, right? Because it said that what he says is they all worship all these Native Americans worshiped one single God, Yahweh. That was the same name we say Yahweh, the same name we say the Tetragrammaton is, right? And he also said the various other pronunciations that other Hebrew Israelites use, like Yahuwah, Yeshua, things like that, right? But for some reason, he's saying now Judaism, or he basically being a Hebrew Israelite or Hebrew, that same book is saying, "Oh no, it's not that." But you have to realize something. Y'all get Yahweh from the Tetragrammaton. Yahweh, it sounds similar to Yahweh. How can those, like, how can the guy y'all say y'all believe in, Yahweh, right? The guy we say we believe in, Yahweh. How can you say that since they all worship the one God and it was called the same exact name that we say we believe in, the Hebrew Israelites, like the true children of God, right? How can you say that they are not Hebrews if they're worshiping a version of the Tetragrammaton? We have to call into question the legitimacy of this source. We have to call into legitimacy of this source. We have to, right? But that other part helped us. But this thing is just saying it's talking out the side of his neck like Charlie Kirk, right? You like that one? Yeah, okay, yeah. I'd ask Charlie for help, but he's talking out the side of his neck. It says, but they wouldn't call it Judaism back. Yeah, exactly. They wouldn't call it Judaism back then. Like this, like I can't believe you read this and thought this was about to be your great comeuppance on the Hebrew Israelites. This is crazy.
Also,
yeah.
So there was no Judaism.
You'd be sucking on baby penises.
Yeah, it's pretty disturbing and perverted.
Yeah, that's there we go. Brother was right. See, they wouldn't call it Judaism because in Judaism they have people called moyim and they suck a whole bunch of big bags of baby dicks. That's what they do, right? That's what they're doing over there in Belgium, and getting mad because the Belgium authority, the government, told them that the Moyos can't be doing that. They say, "Oh, that's anti-Semitism." Why would they say that? Oh, because that's their culture to do that. Right? That's Judaism's culture. Epstein files. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's your brother. You should teach him.
So the I don't know any Jews, so it's all right.
You know him.
So when you realize, like, a lot of the history they sold you when they came here, they told you that Christopher Columbus thought he sailed all the way to India, around the world to India. Okay, dude, it was called La Gente de Indios. That's what he was saying. It was the people of God. And the reason why they thought that when they got there, and you can read about this in this book, you should buy it. I would recommend it. But when they got here, they thought, oh my gosh, these people are red skinned. In fact, that's where we get the Native American redskin, which you ain't never seen a red person before.
You know, Marcus Garvey.
You've never seen a red person.
He said the red was for the Indians, the green was for the Irish.
Would you call a Native American person today a red person? No, that's because red people don't exist anymore.
No, that's not why. That's why I wouldn't call them.
The Bible doesn't say that.
No,
I wouldn't call them that because I wouldn't like.
As an observation, would you look at their skin and say, "Oh yeah, you're kind of a hue of red"?
I wouldn't call them that because of the stigma that y'all put on us.
No, you can read it in this book. They talk about the skin looking red of the people all over, and it's in old history.
You know what Columbus did when he thought they was the people of God?
Yeah,
he still enslaved them.
Yeah, he said that they looked like they were good for slavery.
It goes right back to.
He said they were good people, and he said they were good-hearted, and he said they looked easy, manipulated.
They were good. They were good people. They're good-hearted. I know what I should do: enslave them. Because one day in 2026, there are going to be a group of Hebrew Israelites who are going to say, "I can be saved."
Manipulated for slavery. Yeah, for sure. That was the Jewish person.
We received Christianity.
That was a Jewish person. Had nothing to do with the color of the skin.
Whether he's Jewish or not, he didn't give them Judaism.
Yeah, he did. There was no Judaism in this country.
He gave them Christianity. He said we can enslave them in the name of the blessed Trinity.
Bro, they brought in Judaism.
Listen, he could have brought in Judaism. He could have brought in a bunch of things, but he enslaved them under Queen Isabella in the name of the blessed Trinity.
Okay,
so we received Christianity. Like all you did was do all that just to prove my point that we received this through.
You did all that to prove the point of we're the Israelites. Imagine immediately getting on here and the first thing you're saying is we're not the Israelites. Read your source, which backs up the Native Americans calling on Yahweh, which is something we can revisit later, right? Calling on Yahweh, and it's just great. Imagine that. That's the hubris or the pride of the white man. You're going to say you're not an Israelite, then the Lord will have you read a source that backs up our point, which really kind of then contradicts itself afterwards. But it's crazy. Just look at this, bro. Look at these people, man. Look at these people.
enslavement.
No, that's not what the point is. Like I'll point out your slavery right here, right to you, because you walk in slavery. You're a slave.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
I'm
you
a
are
free man.
No, bro, you
let me ask you a question before you say that.
Let me tell you how.
Wait, before you say
let me finish.
Do you
think
if I was a slave, I would talk to you the way that I do?
Do you follow the Sabbath?
Yes.
You're a slave. Do you follow all the rules? Do you wear your little tassel?
We're gonna get that later. Let me deal with this real fast. So we use Black Hebrew Israelite in the title, not use black when you speak, but not use black when you speak. I'm confused. Stand on business. Use Black Hebrew Israelite all the time. I can use whatever I want to use. Who cares what somebody titles a video or what? Like the only thing I care about is what the Lord calls me. What is this? What is the substantiation? What's substantial about this point, brother? It doesn't matter. What does God call you? What does God call us? Like Jesus Christ, people get caught up on just the minute thing. This is what Christ was talking about, where they like was it swatting a candle, straining a gnat, or something like that. That's just it doesn't matter.
And all that stuff. You're a slave. You're a slave to a bunch of rules. Yeah, you're a slave.
Yes.
That's by default, bro.
Now.
That's being a slave. Do you know what Jesus brought? Jeremiah 31:31. It says,
did Paul
the days are coming, declares the Lord. Let me quote this.
Okay,
the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I...
No, just for a second.
Okay, right to you, because you walk in slavery. You're a slave.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
I'm
you
a free man.
No, bro, you
let me ask you a question before you say that.
Let me tell you how.
Before you say that.
Let me finish.
Do you think if I was a slave, I would talk to you the way that I do?
Do you follow the Sabbath?
Yes.
You're a slave. Do you follow all the rules? Do you wear your little tassels and all that stuff? You're a slave. You're a slave to a bunch of rules. Yeah, you're a slave.
Yes.
That's by default, bro.
Now,
that's being a slave. Do you know what Jesus brought? Jeremiah 31:31. It says,
did Paul
the days are coming, declares the Lord. Let me quote this.
Okay,
the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the people. It will not be like the people of my ancestors when I bought them, I held them by the hand and brought them out of Egypt. This new covenant will be like the
read it.
So okay, now he's talking about the new covenant. I just want to stop right here. I want to show something. He said you're a slave to rules, but I want to show you something, Devil. Just real quick, Devil. When you say you're a slave to rules, you know Paul said that same exact thing, and he used it in a good connotation. Look at this. So Romans 6. I'm gonna start at 1 so we know what we're talking about, and I'm not gonna read all the way down. I just want to hit verses 1 through 2 and then get to the point of why I'm saying this. So Romans 6:1, it says, "What shall we say then? Are we to continue in sin that grace may abound? Should we continue breaking God's laws?" So grace, or y'all's version of grace, can now cover it. What does Paul say? By no means. How can we who died to sin still live in it? So Paul is saying something different than what Christians believe in. That's the context of this chapter. Now watch this. When he said, "Oh, do you keep the Sabbath? Do you keep other Torah commandments?" Well, you're a slave to rules. Watch this. Romans 6:16. "Do you not know that if you present yourselves to anyone as obedient slaves, you are slaves of the one whom you obey, either of sin, which leads to death?" Because he will say we don't have to keep the laws no more because of the new covenant, which is crazy because when we get there, it's going to be real funny, right? But it says if you present yourselves as obedient slaves. So you're going to serve something or someone. That's what Paul is saying right here. You're going to serve something or someone. If you serve sin, that means you're a breaker of the law. That same person, that same devil, that same Edomite, that same white man said that, oh, he's trying to berate us, berate Torah keepers for keeping the law, statutes, commandments, when to call us slaves. He's saying his God says we don't have to do that. That's how you know you're of the devil. But let's continue with this. Remember that. Remember he said that. It says you are slaves of the one whom you obey, either of sin, which leads to death, like Christians, or of obedience, which leads to righteousness. But thanks be to God that you were once slaves of sin, have become obedient from the heart to the standard of teaching to which you were committed, and having been set free from sin, have become slaves of righteousness. Slaves of righteousness. What does it mean to be a slave of righteousness? You keep the laws of God. That's why starting in verse 1 through 2, it gives you a just opposition between the slaves who sin, like that damn devil, that damn Edomite, versus us who are slaves to righteousness. So yeah, we're slaves to righteousness. Yeah, we are a slave in that aspect. We serve righteousness because we believe in God. We are obedient to the Father in our hearts. and keep the standard of the Torah, which was given to us. That's the difference between us and Christianity and us and these Christians. Y'all are slaves and servant of your father, the devil. That's why you say such stupid things. This is Paul. This ain't even Old Testament where you can say, "Oh, that's over. That's over with." This is what Paul says. What are we talking about, bro? Look at these. Like, it's crazy. It's like I beg for him to open up the Bible. When he does, he just immediately puts his foot in his mouth.
Default, bro.
Now,
that's being a slave. Do you know what Jesus brought? Jeremiah 31:31. It says,
did Paul
the
say
days
this,
are coming, declares the Lord. Let me quote this.
Okay,
the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the people. It will not be like the people of my ancestors when I bought them, I held them by the hand and brought them out of Egypt. This new covenant will be like the
read the rest of it.
Yeah,
read the rest of it.
Jeremiah 31:31. It will not be like the covenant.
Right.
So that means all of this whole Passover and all this nonsense stuff. It says the new covenant, I will write my laws in their hearts. And I will put it in their minds. I will be their God, and they will be my people. No longer will they teach their neighbor or say to one another, "You must know the Lord," for they will all know me, from the least of them to the greatest. What are you doing here, trying to tell your people, "Oh, you must know the God," blah blah blah, bro? You're missing it, dude. The Bible even tells you not to say you must know the Lord, for they will all know me. How are they going to know? Because in your heart, bro, your heart is what tells you what is true. Just like you probably know the first time you looked at porn, you probably remember it, don't you?
It's crazy that that's the first thing. There's so many things he could have mentioned, but he just says the first thing he mentions is porn. Imagine that. That's Esau for you, right? But he quoted Jeremiah 31:31. That doesn't prove any point whatsoever. All that does is prove Captain Tazariak's point about how we have to keep the Torah. And we're not under the new covenant yet, but let's say we were, just for the sake of argument right there. And Jeremiah 31:31, look at this. Behold, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, and not like the covenant that I made with their fathers on the day when I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt. Right? My covenant that they broke, though I was their husband, declares the Lord. So the reason why it says not like the other covenant is because we were able to break the other covenant. And the new covenant, we won't be able to break it. That's evidence of how we're not in the new covenant now. But the issue that this dummy doesn't understand, which he quoted loosely, look at what it says. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, declares the Lord. I will put my law within them, and I will write it in their hearts. That means they will know full righteousness and keep full righteousness. This is like Christians say, "Oh, I just believe in Christ now. This has already happened, and we all know the Lord." No, that's not what this is talking about. This is clarified. Let's go to Ezekiel 36 really quick. Ezekiel 36. Right, and this also proves how we're not in the new covenant yet. Ezekiel 36:24. I will take you from the nations and gather you from all the countries and bring you into your own land. I will sprinkle clean water on you, and you shall be clean from all your uncleanliness, and from all your idols I will cleanse you, and I will give you a new heart. This is when we get the new covenant. We're given a new heart, and watch what happens. And a new spirit I will put within you, and I will remove the heart of stone from your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you and cause you. This is making you. This new spirit that's put upon us after we've been delivered from the nations, the Lord will cause us to walk after his statutes and be careful to obey his rules. This is his Torah commandments. It says the decrees. This is law, statutes, and commandments. That's what the new covenant is. But when you just isolate, you can try to make these points. This is what's put in our minds. Nobody has this in 2026. And if that's supposed to be taken literally, what he's reading what he's quoting in Jeremiah 31:31 or Hebrews 8:8, y'all wouldn't have church houses. By the same measure, he's trying to measure against Captain Tazariak. Why are you out here trying to teach people? Why do y'all have Christian churches? Why do y'all have Bible studies? Why do y'all have pastors and mentors? Why do y'all have revivals then? That is silly. You're not that's why he's going to, that's why he spent this whole time talking, because he's not biblically sophisticated, right? That's why you got to watch you have to watch your damn mouth, bro. Like when you're really trying to weigh matters, because look what Christ said, Matthew 7:1. Judge not that you be not judged. You're trying to judge Captain Tazariak on why are you trying to teach people and do things like this. Watch this. This is why you shouldn't do that. For with the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged. By that same measure, you try to measure against Captain Tazariak by saying, why are you out here teaching people? Why do y'all have churches, revivals, Bible studies, men's groups, men's retreats, men's conferences, female conferences? Why do y'all do all those things? That same thing can be measured right back to you. Look what Christ says. For with the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you see the speck in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? Right? Don't talk about us when your entire religion is made off of rape, robbery, and murder, and enslavement, and antinomianism, right? Where it's lawlessness. You don't have to keep any type of Torahs. Christ spoke against that. Y'all have a massive amount of hypocrisy going on. Until y'all get that cleared up, let's read this. Right? Verse 4. Or how can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye when there's a log in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the log out of your own eye, then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. Once y'all fix the BS in y'all's religion, then you can start to say something against us. That is absolutely crazy. Why are you out here teaching? Y'all teach people. You're trying to teach him. It's crazy how that even works.
No. Yeah, you don't. Oh, you don't do so much faded, bro. You probably remember the first time you stole something, or the first time you did something wrong, because the Holy Spirit is inside of all of us, bro. Okay. He's inside of you. He's inside of me. Right. And
if the Holy Spirit is inside of all of us, then why did y'all enslave people with the doctrine of discovery? If that's the case, if y'all say that's wrong, why did y'all then do that? If it's always been inside of all of us, why have y'all stolen? Why do we see? And you can even say that for us. Why have we committed iniquity? Why have everybody committed iniquity if the Holy Spirit is inside of everybody? That is foolishness.
And he teaches us. That's the new covenant. It's not about, oh, I got to follow the feast. No, you're a slave. You follow the feast. That's what you are, bro.
So now I'm going to respond.
Go for it.
The key thing you're missing in Jeremiah 31 is that the law is being delivered in both. The law in the Old Testament was delivered this way. The law in the New Testament is still going to be delivered. The law doesn't go away.
Jesus said, I came not to abolish it.
I'll let you say it all.
Go, keep going.
Thank you. So Christ said, think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I came not to destroy, but to fulfill. Mm-hmm. Then he said, whosoever break the least commandments and teach men so shall be least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall teach and do them shall be called great. So when I teach and do them, am I great? Yes or no?
Sure.
When I teach and do them, am I great? Answer the question. Christ,
sure.
when you teach,
you're confounded because you have to disagree with Christ.
When you teach not to do them, are you the least?
What are you talking about?
I know it goes over your head because you mentioned being a slave.
Jesus, hold up. Paul
gave
you freedom,
Paul said, I am a prisoner of Christ. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Is that wrong?
No.
Thank you. Because being locked in with God and being a prisoner with God and being a prisoner of Christ is a great thing. But being locked into sin, Christ said in John 8:32, ye shall know the truth and the truth shall make you free.
Yeah.
The Pharisees said, we are the sons of Abraham and have never been in bondage to any man. And Christ said, he that is a servant of sin is in bondage to it. And you're teaching people to sin.
No, bro, you are teaching people
you are
you walk in pride.
to sin.
You are so full of pride.
Sin. Do you keep the Sabbath?
Pride.
Do you keep the
you
Sabbath?
Walk in pride. No, I don't actually.
You are a slave to sin.
Jesus was the Sabbath,
you
bro.
You go to church on Sunday, you are a slave to sin.
Bro,
he never said that. He never said I am the Sabbath. Like,
keep Christmas, you are a slave to sin.
So
you say I just flipped that on you?
The blood of the lamb came.
I just want you to answer
my
question. Christ said, if you break then teach, excuse me, if you
did
break
Jesus
the least,
break the Sabbath?
Just
yes,
asking
he did.
a question, man. Can
Jesus
I ask my question?
If Christ broke the Sabbath, he committed a sin worthy of death. That is the Messiah you believe in. If that is the case, why in John and why does Peter literally say he never committed a sin?
First,
yeah, go on.
Christ said, if you break the least commandment and teach men so, you the least, right?
Sure.
Right? So if you don't eat pork, you're the least, right?
I don't eat pork.
I'm sorry. If you eat pork, you're the least, right?
I don't think that's what the law is.
The law says you can't eat pork.
He's saying teach my commandments.
The least
that law is not the law he's talking about, bro.
Servant of sin. You are a slave to sin.
You're about to fight rituals, me, bro.
You're about to fight me on the least commandment because you're a slave to sin.
No, it's
I'm
irrelevant.
a slave to God. I'm a slave to the commandments.
You're a slave to pride, bro. You're so prideful, it's insane, dude.
If Christ says, if I keep the commandments, I'm great. If I break the commandments, I'm least.
You're prideful.
Should I
You'll
fight
find
to
out.
be the greatest or should I fight to be the least? Which one?
Bro, you're a slave
to
pride.
Should I fight to be the greatest or fight to be the least?
You don't even understand what Jesus was saying,
Can you answer the question?
Bro,
should I fight to be the greatest or fight to be the least?
Fight to be the greatest, but your
question's irrelevant. So then I have to keep the commandment, right?
No. You don't understand Jesus' commandments. He said those that don't keep Jesus' commandments. What was Jesus' commandments? He said, no. What was Jesus' commandments?
Christ said,
what was his?
I'm going to read it. To love God with all thy might, soul, and strength.
There you go. And love your neighbor as yourself.
And he said, wait, let me finish. Let me finish. On these hang what?
The Lord, yeah.
Hang all
of the other commandments.
The law.
Yeah. There you go.
So again, you cannot break the least commandment.
So you're
because
not
Christ
loving
said on those two principles, the Bible never told me I had to love you. You're not my neighbor.
Bro. You just witchcraft all your words, bro.
You're not my neighbor.
Straight witchcraft. Okay. All right.
Word, let's go, man.
Oh God, they brought him back.
Repeat the prompt again.
Yes, sir.
God, you agree to that?
Come on, let's get to it.
That man,
come on, man.
That man had the Google machine.
This is the mice in the cherry tree. Just remember I said that.
We're gonna talk.
Christianity is a slave religion. The white man gave you Jesus to keep you oppressed. This is the mouse.
All right. This is the reason I'm explaining why it's false. And this is coming from a black person. We have similar understandings. Let's break down the understanding, right? I want to take it all the way back after Christ resurrected. When Christ rose again, you got to understand that the gospel was spread all through Africa, all through certain places before. And I want to tell you, it's good people and evil people, whether you white, black, whatever you are. So we're going to get into it. I'm going from my understanding, okay? Before the whitewashing of what you call Christianity, because that happened. The way was still what it was, which is the way of Christ. They were still preaching Christ until when? The Council of Nicaea is when Constantine, seeing how the Christians was growing, and they infiltrated the way through Catholicism. This is what I'm just saying on us having whatever similar slave mentality from where we come from our history. When you go back, when you go back, Constantine and them infiltrated the way, and they did change certain things. But that's why we celebrate Christmas. This is why we celebrate the resurrection on Easter. It was due to things like that. But wait, that did not change on what the way was. That did not change on who Christ was or none of that.
But
that's what I'm gonna say.
Just so you can know we on the same page.
Okay.
Christianity is not in the Bible. So what I mean by that is when they were called Christians, it was a derogatory term because they weren't called Christians by fellow Christians. They were called Christians by the sect of Pharisees and Sadducees that hated them preaching about Christ. So when you bring up the Council of Nicaea, even before you get to the Council of Nicaea, that's what makes John 8:32 so important, because Christ was calling them slaves of sin even back then. We would agree, right? In John 8 chapter, when he said, if you're a servant of sin, when that's what he was calling them a slave to. Okay. So when Christ goes away and you got the disciples teaching the word. They're teaching it the right way. You don't see in first century, you're not going to see Jesus is God. You're not going to see that nowhere. It comes later. The Council of Nicaea didn't just include one belief. They broke it from the Sabbath being on Saturday, the seventh day, to the first day.
Right.
That's the implement of Christianity being a slave religion, because it's not just a slave to what they did to us. It's a slave to sin. They tell you don't have to keep the law, the dietary law. Do you believe that we have to keep the dietary law?
No.
So that's a slave of sin.
No, it's not. Let me break it down. Christ, just like we read before, Christ fulfilled the law. It's fulfilled when he wrote. Yes, he did.
So I can murder.
Christ fulfilled the law. It's not about if we can murder. I'm not saying that, but it's fulfilled.
So how come I cannot murder?
All of the old traditions, all that things. We're not under. No, I said all of that, to the fringes, to all of that is fulfilled on Christ.
Fringes?
Christ, because you're gonna say he touched the fringe of his garment. Let's break it down. But Christ characterized the Pharisees. The Pharisees wore fringes. Facts.
Right.
Let's talk about it.
But the Pharisees was hypocrites. I'm not talking about their hypocrisy.
No, but
I'm just asking if
the reason
Christ
why I gotta say that, bro. Listen, y'all in this Hebrew Israelite religion are spitting images of the Pharisees.
No, we're not.
Yes, y'all are.
Saying keep the law.
Y'all are more focused on the law than Christ.
We're focused on Christ.
That's not what, like, oh God. Like, anybody who calls people, like, when you see how when Christians or like less biblically astute Hebrew Israelites call people Pharisees for teaching the law, you really are not reading the Bible. Like, and I really mean that, you are not reading the Bible. Christ didn't have an issue with the Pharisees for teaching the law. Christ had an issue with the Pharisees for not keeping it. In every single gospel, in Matthew, in John, in Luke, in Mark, Christ, every time he had an issue, was with them trying to bear false witness on him, which is a Torah commandment, or them not keeping the commandments, or teaching a tradition, which they did against the commandments. That's all. That's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John throughout the whole thing. It killed me when Christians do that. Like, there's no way you're reading it. Like, that's not like me, because when I was a Christian for 22 years, I didn't read the Bible. I thought I did, but I didn't really read the Bible, right? But when I came into the truth and let myself be a blank slate of what God tried to tell me by reading it, there's absolutely no way you come to the conclusion that Christ's issue with the Pharisees is that they were keeping the law. Or else you would have to say Christ is a hypocrite, because Christ taught to keep the law. There's at least 5 different examples when you can Matthew 5, Matthew 7, Matthew 8, right? Matthew 19. Like, there's so many examples. Matthew 14. Like, there's John 14. There's too many examples where he's literally teaching you to keep the Torah. Like, y'all are not reading. It's like y'all are reading a different book. Y'all are reading the Bible, bro, the bad book.
Christ said, fear God, the Bible says, fear God, keep the commandments. This is the whole duty of man. I'm going to ask you the same question. If I break the least commandment, am I the least in the kingdom of heaven?
Right. So let's break that down real quick. He said, I did not come to destroy the law, but fulfill. Right. And like how you said, if you break the least commandments, but then he summed up the law on love God and love your neighbor as yourself.
He said, on these hang all
the whole law.
Right.
So that's what I'm trying to say. So what happens is what happens was even before is that
I just need an answer to my question.
No, hold on. Before we do the trickery,
this is not trickery.
Yes, that's it is.
If you just answer, you can say whatever you want.
Right.
Okay.
This is the trickery. Here comes the trickery.
I'm gonna see if we can agree to this. If you or I ask a question, if it's a yes or no, we say yes or no and then expound. That way it's no trickery.
But that's the same thing they did to Christ too. Like, is it this or that? And what Christ, through his wisdom, asked the question.
So again,
because it's trickery,
but
bro.
If he says, if you break the least commandment and teach men so, he shall be called least in the kingdom. That's true, right?
That is true, but that's not talking about the law of Moses. That's not talking about the law of Moses. The law of Christ.
How? How? Like, you know, like I've heard this argument before, and it's crazy every time you hear it. How can that be the law of Christ? Let me tell you, like, I want to show y'all how mentally retarded that is. And I'm trying not to use that word, but that is mentally retarded to say that that's Christ, that the law of Christ. Let me show you why that is. Oh my God. Let's look at this. Matthew 5. Let me see. Y'all see that. Boom. There we go. I'm trying to maximize this. There we go. So Matthew 5. Look at this. So Matthew 5:17. Do not think that I've come to abolish the law or the prophets. What is that? What law and what prophets is that? The Old Testament prophets and the Old Testament law, the Torah. Nobody's going to say this is the law of Christ. This is the context. It even has a context marker right in front of do, right there in Matthew 5, verse 17, to let you know this is the beginning of this context. So the beginning of this context says, I came not to destroy the law or the prophets, to abolish the law or the prophets. That's Old Testament prophets, and that's Old Testament Torah. Nobody is going to say that's the law of Christ. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. For truly I say to you, until heaven and earth pass away, not an iota or nor a dot will pass from the law till all is accomplished. Is that the law of Christ? A Christian will say no. You know how we know that? Because they're like, when you read the Bible in context, they're going to be destroyed. That's why it's going to go like that, right? This is contextually the Torah. Verse 19. Therefore, whoever relaxes one of the least of these commandments and teach others to do the same will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever does them and teach them will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So these commandments is obviously in context of the Old Testament Torah. It does not change, because if it did, it would say so. The Bible doesn't have any issue saying the phrase the law of Christ. And the law of Christ ain't even something different from the Torah commandment. The law of Christ is this. And it kills me that, like, I hate that it had to be translated from the Greek as the law of Christ. Like that phrase, I really, really hate it, because it takes away from what Paul was even saying. This only here. You have another place where it says, it alludes to it in Corinthians, but this is where you get that phrase, the law of Christ. The word law right there, I think it's nomos in the Greek. Am I right? Yeah, nomos, right? It means instruction. Anything established a custom, a law, commandment is going into instruction. Just like how the Torah shows you instruction. Like the word Torah means instruction. This is the instruction. It makes more sense for this word to be translated as instruction. That's what this means. So it's going into the instruction of Christ. What is the instruction of Christ? Look at this. Galatians 6:1. Brothers, if anyone is caught in a transgression, what's that? I digress, but what's that? That's breaking the laws of God. If anyone is caught in any transgression, you who are spiritual, one who's not in transgression, showing you how being spiritual is being a Torah keeper, should restore him in the spirit of gentleness. Keep watch on yourself, lest you too be tempted. Bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ, because that's what Christ taught. He bared our burdens by dying for us. He says no greater love has one than one who lays down his life for another. That's the instruction of Christ. Look at this. Let me see. Let me see right here. I think the ESV changes it. Yeah, ESV. I'm putting KJV just now. Wait a minute. Oh no, the ESV is fine. I'm tripping. Right. So in Isaiah 53, this is the suffering servant passage. Really, Christians, Hebrew Israelites understand this to be Christ. Right. So when you see it, when I mentioned and when Paul mentioned in Galatians 6 about bearing one another's burdens, that's the instruction of Christ, because he's using that as in what Christ did. What did he do? He laid down his life for us. That bearing our burden is mentioned in this passage, right? So when you look at this, let's see here. Yeah, right here. It says, surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. We esteemed him stricken, smitten by God, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was a chastisement that brought us peace, and with his wounds we are healed. That's him bearing our burdens. All of the sins that we did and we've done throughout our lives, he bared them on the cross. He bared our burden. So us looking at that and look at the instruction of him, we should bear our brother's burdens. That's what Paul is teaching you. Not that you don't have to keep the Torah commandments. How do we know that? He died for these transgressions. He didn't die so you can keep sinning. He died for, look at this, Romans 3:25. We're going to jump back into it. So Romans 3:25, for God put forward as a propitiation by his blood to be received by faith. This was to show God's righteousness, because in his divine forbearance he had passed over former sins. This is making reference to your old man. When you've actually been converted through Christ and actually believe in Christ and have the Spirit upon you, you kill off that old man. And what that old man did, Christ paid for on the cross, because you were carrying that transgression. And if you died with it, you have to deal with it. But since you now believe in Christ, right, and have been changed from that old man to the new man that's created in righteousness, like Paul says in Colossians, the 3rd chapter, right? You walk in the newness of life, not in the deadness of sin. All that deadness of sin that you walked in, Christ died for, and when he nailed it to the cross. One more. It's going to say exactly what I said. Colossians 2 and 14. Let me start at 13. It says, and you who were dead in your trespasses and the uncircumcision of your flesh, God made alive together with him, having forgiven us of all our trespasses by canceling the record. People need to understand is the record. What is something that's recorded? The things that was done in the past, that's the record. Your old man. By canceling the record of debt that stood against us and its legal demands. What was the legal demands? All those transgressions or charges. What's one thing they can understand? A charge. All those charges against you. This he set aside, nailing it to the cross. That's what he died for. That's how he buried our burdens. And if he can do that, we can love our brother who we can see. And by doing that, we fulfill the instruction or law of Christ. That doesn't mean we don't have to keep the Torah no more. Good God. If only y'all read the book and believed in it.
Christ. Every law that Christ gave came from, matter of fact, before Moses, the laws existed. Example, on the ark of Noah, how many animals? How many pairs of animals?
2.
That's a lie.
Okay.
It's an absolute lie.
How many?
When you read Genesis, the 7th chapter, he took 7 of every clean animal, 2 of every unclean animal, because the law of clean and unclean animals did not come from Moses. It existed before Moses. So when you say law of Moses, that's not true. What made the difference with Moses giving us the law and laws existing before that is that there were priests that could carry out. There was a codified system in place to where if you broke the law, the priest could uphold you to it. You can see that exemplified all throughout the Bible.
I don't even know where we at right now. Like with the, I'm tell you the truth. I don't even know where we at now. We talk about the animals.
I know you got laws.
Look. Past the animals or whatever we saying. Nah, but look, I'm gonna tell you because we just jumping around now. It's going to tie back to the first thing on Christianity being a white man's religion. That's not true.
That's not the topic.
I'm gonna tell you.
That's not the topic.
All right, what's your prompt? What was your prompt?
Christianity is a slave religion. The white man gave you Jesus to keep you oppressed.
No, but that's false.
The white man did give us Jesus to keep us oppressed.
We already had. First, let me ask you this: why do you think that happened to the whatever people want to believe to our people? Let's say if we are Jews, because everyone got the right to believe what they want. Whatever. Jews. I'm saying we Israelites, whatever. Let's say we are Israel, whatever. Right. Whatever happened to Israel, they killed the Christ and put his blood on his descendants. So they put on a curse.
Did they put his blood on everybody?
Yes, they did. Yes, they put it on us.
Did they put it on everybody?
It keeps going down.
No, I'm saying, did they put it on every nation?
On them.
They just put it on the Israelites, right?
Yes. Now look. Now what I want to say is we put on. This is why the Gentiles, when they was just around, the Romans and people was just accepting Christ. His own people. No, just like the lady that he called the dog, right? He was like, I only came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. These people so puffed up they couldn't get it. She was like, but bro, the dogs eat of the crumbs of the master. He was like, wow, I never
trying to give him the meal in?
Wait, but he said I never saw this much faith, not even in Israel.
So he says, no, let's continue on. Hold on,
don't cut me off. Don't cut me off. Don't cut me off, bro. Don't cut me off real quick. Be quick to hear, slow to speak. Real quick, because you're cutting it off. You're cutting it off on the understanding. He said many will.
He's talking about being quick to hear and slow to speak. This guy.
Come sit down with.
That's right. Israelites.
Yes, with Jacob, Isaac. But he said the sons of the kingdom will be casted out. They'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
No, it said
who is that?
It said the kingdom will be taken from you.
Why? Why? Because they didn't. It's the people that they saw Christ.
No Israelites accepted him?
I didn't say that.
That's my point.
Listen, though, but y'all didn't accept him. How you not accepting him now?
I do accept him.
No, you don't. You say he's not God. He's not this. He's not that. You're not. No, but I'm showing you. That shows you that you're not serving Christ.
The Bible don't say that he's God.
Oh my goodness, bro.
So again,
oh my goodness. John 1, for the word was God and the word was with God.
Right.
What is that?
Have you ever read that in the Greek?
What? See, when we jump to the Greek, that's how you already know. We already get to get to a deeper understanding. The reason why you cannot understand who Christ is, bro, you have to get filled with the Holy Spirit. I'm telling you the truth. You don't, though, bro.
I've had the Holy Spirit.
I'm telling you.
Let's just show that real quick. So he said, see, you want to go to the Greek? It was written in Greek, you dummy. So let's go to this real quick. I want to show y'all this in John. I've showed it before, but since he mentioned it. So he asked me, have you read that in Greek? When you look in the Greek for this, I think you got to show it like this. So it says, in the beginning, time, in arche, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, right? And the Word the Word was with God, and the Word was God, right? So look at this. So it says the Word was with God. You see this Greek word right here, theon or theon, right? When you see this word right here for the God that the Word was, it's theos. Do you know what the difference is between those two words? Theon or theon is used specifically for the Father. There's nowhere in the Bible, whether it be Septuagint or whether that's Old Testament Septuagint, or whether it be in the New Testament, where theon is used for anybody outside of the Father. Christ is never called theon in the Bible. Nowhere. Only when it's making reference to the Father. Now, the God that the Word was, or Christ was, is theos, which really means a divine one, a ruler or power. In the same way how Jews are called theos. When Christ mentioned ye are gods, that word gods right there is theos right there. That's what this is. He was a divine power. That doesn't make him the Father. That doesn't equivocate him to the Father, or else in the text would reflect that. The text doesn't reflect that. But the English, when you just read it in English, it says the Word was God, so Jesus is God, so we got to believe it. No, that's not what the Greek reflects. That's not what it reflects. I don't know why we have to keep going through this with Christians. And what kills me is when we show this and you don't have an answer for it, it doesn't matter. You guys are heretics. Go figure, right? But I wanted to show that since you mentioned it. I don't know if they go into it or not.
since 2010.
No, bro.
Yes,
no, I'm gonna tell you, y'all have another spirit. Because what happened is, it's just like I said. No, but when that old veil comes upon Israel, they get blinded again.
And that's why what am I blind?
Because you got on fringes, you got to do all this stuff.
I'm saying to keep the commandments. How am I blinded by saying keep it when Christ said keep the commandments?
But you exalting the commandments over Christ.
No,
Christ
I'm not.
fulfilled the law, bro.
If I exalted the commandments,
we almost done because I know he want to talk. I want to give you a chance to talk. If I
exalted the commandments, then if whatever somebody did before they turned their life to Christ, I would hold that against them. I don't.
You exalt the law of Moses over the law of Christ.
It's all
facts.
Are the laws of Moses the laws of God?
Yes.
Okay, then. Did Christ keep the laws of God?
Yes.
Then let's stop talking about this law of Moses.
He fulfilled it.
He did not fulfill every. He said
all right, all right. Now Christ didn't fulfill the law. Now that's what you're gonna stand here and say. Christ didn't fulfill the law. So where's your animal sacrifice? So where's your sacrifice then?
Man, listening is an art. In Acts 3 and 18,
the trickery here it comes.
In Acts 3 and 18, when it talks about he fulfilled dying on the cross. Christ said, "Till heaven and earth pass, not one jot or one tittle shall go away till all be fulfilled." Is Christ back?
He fulfilled it when he died and rose again. When he died and rose again, it was fulfilled. He tore the veil. So now anyone can be saved, bro. No, but I'm answering that. Yes. Wait, what's your question?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Is Christ back?
No.
Is Christ return?
He's coming.
Is it prophesied for him to return?
Yes, but that's not
that fulfilled when he returned.
But listen, that doesn't take away. No, that's the trickery.
That's what he's talking about when he says all fulfilled.
Whatever. Because we're gonna just run around. We're gonna run around. I want to get to the next quick thing. Because we're gonna keep running around to that. Next thing on back of it being a white man's religion. The reason
the Jesus that we have, is he white or black?
That's with Jesus that we have, the one that they're giving us through Caesar Borgia, through the whitewashing, through the Renaissance period. I done did that research.
But that's what I'm saying. Isn't that who white people gave us in America? Did they give us that Jesus?
They gave us an image, but we already had the way.
That's not what
We already had the way, though, bro.
Here's what you're saying, so you don't understand. What you're saying is that we had an understanding of Christ before we had experience from white people. That's what you're saying. The paper says the white man gave you white Jesus to oppress you. That is a fact. When they brought us over here, they didn't give us a Christ with woolly hair, red eyes, black skin. They gave us a white Jesus. They gave us a slave Bible. They said,
I want to try to understand that too, because he's saying like we had a understanding. We understood the way before the white man came. Well, that's like nobody would agree with that. Like when they came, right, and brought us to America, they didn't give us the way. He's saying that way that he's talking about is the way like prior to colonialism, like what we read about in the Bible. That's not what they gave us. Like he's saying, he made a very clear question. What did we get when the white man made contact with us? We didn't get the way according to you. That's not what we received. Like can we just be honest? Why is that the common denominator with every Christian that gets on here? It's just a severe lack of honesty. Let's be honest. What you say the way is what he agrees is the way that what we received from Christianity, whitewashed Christianity, is not the way. You will admit that's what we received. So we did not receive the way from them. We received whitewashed Christianity. Can we just be honest? Like if we could just acknowledge that, you can try to make a more cohesive point. It's just that simple. I don't know what I'm saying. It's just really just that simple.
Bow to this white Jesus. They said, when you say, "Now I lay me down to sleep," you think of a white man and it oppress you. That's why you're oppressed.
No, but I don't think
oppressed
that.
Right now.
No, but I'm gonna tell you, I've been born again, bro. I've been filled with the Holy Spirit. I see different.
You say white people?
Listen, let me tell you, it's good and evil.
Do you go teach white? Do you teach white people?
Whether you black, white, whatever you are.
Do you save
That's
white
what you
people?
don't understand. Christ saved white people.
He did not.
Yes, he did.
He gave a white girl a crumb.
What are you talking about?
Nothing.
He blessed her. And he said, "Go." He was marveled by her.
What he did was give her a crumb.
Can we go there real quick?
You're trying to give white people the table and the meal.
Because bro, it's no.
They don't get the meal. They get the crumb.
Let me tell you, it's no Jew or Greek. It's no Jew or Greek. We are all one in Christ, bro.
They're Greek.
That's why.
Then if that means if he's quoting somewhere in Paul where it says there's no difference between a Jew and a Greek or a Jew and a Gentile. If that's the case, then why did Christ juxtapose the children of God versus the heathen? Why do the heathen get a crumb and the Israelites get the bread then? If that means there's no difference between them. That means Paul's disagreeing with Christ then. Or else that's talking about the Jews and the Hellenized Jews. Because that actually makes sense. But if we're going to use Paul to say there's no difference between the Jew and the rest of the heathens, right? It says that in Romans too. Like it's Galatians and it's in Romans. I think it's chapter 10, actually. But what is it? If Paul's saying that, it says there's no difference between us and the heathen, then Christ is lying there. When they eat from the crumbs and then we get the loaf, then Christ is lying. Then the Bible's lying where we can't trust that account. That's really what we have to just grapple with right here. When Christians like this say we don't have to keep the Torah, when we read in all these passages where Christ is teaching the laws of God, this is something I think y'all should ask your pastors and your friends who believe we don't have to keep the Torah. In all these instances where we see Christ teaching the Torah in the Gospels, after he died, and y'all say that's when he fulfilled the law and we don't have to keep it no more, all of Christ's teachings in the Gospels are now obsolete. None of them matter. Everything we read about in the Gospels does not matter anymore. If when he dies, we don't have to listen to what he taught. None of that matters anymore. All the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, all of that is obsolete when we see Christ say that in Matthew 5, Matthew 7, Matthew 8, Matthew 19, Matthew, what am I missing? It's really all of them. Matthew 4, John 14, John 1. All of that now does not matter because Christ died and we don't have to keep the Torah no more. Because that's the only, when you think about it, that's the only thing Christ taught. You say, oh no, he's talking about, he taught love, Yadi. He taught agape. Well, agape is in the Torah. All he taught was the Torah. So that makes all of Christ's teachings obsolete if when he dies, we don't have to keep the law no more. That's what you're saying. And that point gets made so clear by us, Captain Tazaria, and everybody, but for some reason, we're the ones doing trickery. Like, come on.
And it says, no. And the rest of that says, yeah. And if you be Abraham's seed, your heirs according to the promise, right?
Right.
Who's the promise given to?
Israel. Right. But look, but you don't get it. All right. So let me break that down before you think you got something.
The promise is given to Israel.
What happened was, all right, no, let me break it down. No, because like that's what I said. That's what back to church.
So the promise not given to other nations.
Yes, it is though. He just used Israel as a tool, bro.
No, he did not.
That's it. No, that's what y'all don't get. You came and went and idolized. We idolizing the bloodline, homie. We're idolizing it. No, he did not. Them people never obeyed God ever. Whoever the Jews, they never did. They kept turning away from God. They are as wicked as the Gentiles. We all guilty. That's what you're not getting.
As wicked
Every last one of us are guilty.
As wicked and guilty as we are, God only loves Israel.
Oh, bro, you shot.
He said the other nations are
nothing.
You
shot, bro. I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Did he
shot,
say
bro.
Did he say the other nations are nothing?
Look, listen. We can do all that. No, I'm gonna tell you, bro. And I tell you out of love. I tell my people out of love, just like Paul said. Look,
other nations are. Can you answer my question before you tell me that?
You shot.
I'm gonna read it.
Did he say to the allegiance of Christ?
Did he say the other nations are nothing? We're under the new covenant. Okay. Isaiah 40 and 17. All nations before him are as
because it's gonna be run around for me. Listen, we're gonna hit the point. This is the point.
The white man is nothing.
All right.
The African is nothing.
We're gonna wrap it up. This is the point.
The
if
Japanese
you African,
is nothing.
Chinese, whatever you are,
Asian,
you
the Hawaiian, they're nothing.
You could be born again. You could get filled with the Spirit. The veil was
They don't
torn.
need no electric under the cherry tree no more.
Nah, what are you talking about?
He stays away from the cherry tree.
Let's break it down. But
he's gonna stay away from me because he want to be closer to the white man.
It's not about the white man. It's about salvation for all.
It's not salvation. It's only salvation for Israel.
No, it's not. What are you talking about?
So all Israel shall be saved, right?
No, but what about before he said that? No, let's get into context on why he said that, though. But why did he say that? Why did he say that? No, that's not because all Israel should be saved. Israel does not follow Christ. They are blinded to this day. I'm looking at one.
Waking them up.
No, you're not waking them up. You're bringing them back in bondage.
How am I bringing them back?
Because you don't even believe Christ is who he is, bro.
I do
so I'm gonna leave you with this understanding. Listen, my last understanding, my fault, because it's time to go. It's time to go. You can call me what you want. I'm from New York. You heard? I done seen
when
them
you leave here, you going back to New York?
For sure. But we ain't gonna get into that.
I'm from Jersey. I'm saying we can link up.
Nah, bro.
To the truth.
Nah, I can't link up with y'all. Because it's an anti-Christ. It's a false doctrine. It's a false doctrine. I see that. And you know what's funny? I wild him up every time.
Y'all from New York?
Never. We would never follow. We will never follow.
They're gonna be in all black. They're gonna be in all black.
Of course not.
And we're gonna watch this video.
Bro, he's bugged. Listen, it don't matter if you're Jew or Gentile.
They
you can be born again and you can receive Christ.
That brother woke me up. Captain Tazariah woke me up.
I'm gonna leave it at that because we'll just go back and forth. I'm gonna see him again.
Make sure I get y'all number and everything. I'm just fine. I do this. This is nothing. I'm gonna have you right, man. What borough? What borough? What borough? What borough, man? What borough? Just tell me what borough. You can't even tell me what borough. I got you, man. I got you. I got you.
See Christ? It's gonna be a rude awakening
for them. They gonna fight Christ. Why do you think they got the aliens out here? They gonna fight Christ. I ain't gonna fight Christ. I bet you gonna fight Christ. You're gonna think it's an alien. The prompt is Christianity is a slave religion. The white man gave you Jesus to keep you oppressed.
Okay. What's the number one killer of black people in America?
Abortion.
Huh?
Abortion.
I don't disagree with that. So then what's the second most killer?
I don't know. Because I know when we talk about, I think there's like 48 million black people and unaliving. I don't know the exact percentage.
Okay.
I know the propaganda makes it that way. But I would say probably maybe heart failure or diabetes or
there you go.
Health issues, which would go back to being a servant of sin, because if we kept the dietary law, we wouldn't have as much diabetic and health issues if we would stop eating pork and shrimp and crab and lobster.
Yeah.
Because that'll lead to them fat feet and all that swelling up and gout and all that shit like that.
Well, what I would extend is that, yes, it's heart disease is the number one killer, and eating flesh in general is the leading cause. No, here we go. That's why I'm here. I'm here to talk to you, brother. So listen,
hey, what does Paul call vegans?
Weak men eat only vegetables. Who's he talking? Hey, who's he talking to? Who's he talking to? James the Just, the brother of Christ.
No, not. I wouldn't say
who never ate flesh from birth, wholly from his mother's womb, never eating flesh, according to 5+ church fathers, 100%.
But the church fathers let me come hundreds of years later, man.
Huh? But they're all
nobody contemporary.
No, this is from Hegesippus
so here's what I want to argue. Here's what I want to argue.
Hegesippus the Nazarene in the 1st century declares that James the Just, the brother of the Lord, was wholly from his mother's womb, never eating flesh, meaning Mary taught him to eat that way. He was set apart, wholly from his mother's womb. So now look, you said Christianity. This is what I'm getting at. You can laugh all you want, but
I'm not laughing.
I'm going to make everybody mad with this one. Okay.
It's like poor white man. It's like
no, listen. Christianity. You use the word Christianity. I would agree with you. Hey, look, I would agree with you that the Christianity that we've seen play out over the last couple thousand years does have some really bad violence, really bad slavery, all of that. But let's go to the first instance of the word Christian ever used.
Acts 11:26.
No, sir, it's not. It's Pliny the Younger in 111 AD. Acts is, biblical scholars agree 100%. Acts is written in the 2nd century. The completed work of the Acts is written in the 2nd century.
When you say the completed works of Acts, right? I would disagree because
whoa.
100% Acts is written in the 2nd century.
Acts is written in the 2nd century. That's a perfect frame for what this for this moment. Acts is written in the 2nd. So what? 200, 300 AD? What? The thing that mentions Peter, who existed early 1st century, which goes all the way to Acts 10, where it's still talking about, where it still mentions Peter, who lived in the 1st century. What? What we talk like? This dude is this guy, bro. This is one of the most. Look at this. Look at I got something for him. Because I just knew he was gonna do it. This right here.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
That's him. That is that dude. Oh my God, bro. Acts is written in the first. Bro, Acts literally starts at the end of Matthew 28. It literally starts. Look at this. Let's see. Christ is there. Christ is literally there. That's verse 1. Christ was in the 2nd century? What are we talking about, bro? It has his ascension. Christ ascended. He ascended in the 2nd century? What are we talking? Hold up. Does this have a... Oh, see, Google just knew what I wanted. It's crazy. Google's in the spirit right here. Oh, Lord. Let me see. Let's see what the Bible timeline has for that. Acts. Look at all the Acts. Let's see where it starts. 30 AD. It ends 62 AD. Fuck out of here, bro. Come on, man. That's why I said this frame is perfect. This frame with his face right here is perfect for this blunder this dude doing.
Completed work of Acts is written in the 2nd century.
When you say the completed works of Acts, right? I would disagree because from my history, the New Testament was completed before the 1st century was over.
Yeah, well,
when you talk about circulation, then that's where you have the argument, and then sometimes they argue over Revelations, they argue over 2 Peter's, they argue over a couple of the books, but it was completed before so when you say 2nd century, that would be a lie.
Okay, well, we're going to disagree on that.
And then what they're talking about in Acts predates, you said Pliny, I think I heard the name before.
Pliny the Younger.
Pliny the Younger. What he's talking about and what is talked about in Acts predates.
Right, but let me put it, because I think you're going to like part of the description, probably not all of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's the first secular witness.
Weird. You strike me as a surfer dude. That's why I thought you.
I do like the surf. Hey, bro. Jesus. It says the Spirit hovered over the surf.
Hippie, right?
The Spirit hovered over the surf of the waters.
Smoke weed?
No, I don't. No, I don't. So check it out. The first instance of the word Christian in secular record, which actually biblical historians can trust more,
right?
Because it's secular record. It says that they were meeting in homes, that they were singing hymns. That since they came to town, look, since they came,
believe you did that, man. Good, I'm listening.
Since they came to town, the temple sacrifices and meat from animals wasn't being sold anymore. And it said after their meeting and swearing to each other not to do some crime, but to not do crimes, that is to not steal, commit adultery, murder, the 10 commandments, they would meet together and eat innocent and harmless food. Are you listening to me?
I hear everything.
I'm trying to.
Never think I'm ignoring. Okay. I've been doing this a long time.
I'm trying to share because here's the thing. I
deal with this important, but
what's wrong? God.
Yes or no?
So what would
if now you just words? Just the amount of pseudo-ness is
Eric.
I can't, bro. Like a nigga telling me Acts was
right.
Came out of the 2nd century.
By the G talking Genesis.
I don't give a fuck what he got to say after that. We skip it.
He said, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Yeah.
I didn't mean the. I'm gonna apologize for boy. I didn't mean for it to come off that way.
Free you. I'm gonna free your mind. He comes either.
Okay. How do we?
Nothing in this conversation that said we was friends.
Okay.
Nothing.
One last.
With this one.
All right. God is back, man. Why did you bring him back?
This is why I get back to like a lot of these trick questions. So what do you mean that Joseph was not? This proves that Jesus was God. You're gonna prove that with this. So what do you mean by Joseph was not the father?
So I'm gonna tell you before we go into this conversation. Yes, sir. Me personally, right? Yep. When I first became an Israelite, this is a subject that if Joseph was not the biological father of Jesus, I would not be an Israelite. Because part of the reason that I could sin is because Jesus was God. So he had the ability to not sin, but they're asking me to do something that only God could do. And then I was told that Joseph is the physical father of Joseph, meaning that him and Mary had sex. And so I had to delve into that. And so I had to study that and see if that was true, if it was not. And when I found out that Joseph is the physical and has to be the physical father of him, that's why I believe it. So that's my position. And that's what the Bible teaches. That's what the Bible prophesies. It prophesies.
Yes, it's going to come through the line of Joseph and things of that nature, the Messiah.
Right.
Right.
So line of David.
Yes. But my question is, you're saying he's not the father of Jesus, though?
No, I'm not. The prompt is saying Joseph is not the father. So here's why I say the prompt is saying that. Do you believe that Joseph and Mary had sex to bring forth Christ?
No, they did not.
You're saying Joseph is not the father.
That does not mean he's not his father.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. Let me explain that. Christ came through Mary by the Holy Spirit birth. What are you talking about? It's even written in the scriptures.
Okay, so now I'm gonna ask you, is Mary from the line of David?
No.
Okay, does Jesus have to be from the line of David?
He is.
Through the flesh, right?
Right.
So if Joseph is the only one from David, how is Christ from David?
This is what I keep saying. You're taking away from Christ's divinity, bro.
I'm not talking about
no, but you are, because you're not understanding that.
But look,
that does not make
that's what Christians do. He got walked down right there. If Mary's not from the line of David, and Christ has to be from the line of David, according to Jeremiah 23, Jeremiah 33, all the various other passages, 2 Samuel 7, all the various passages that talk about the Davidic Messiah, he has to be from the line of David, according to the prophecies. If Mary's not a part of that line, right? And we don't know whose lineage that is in Luke. It ain't Mary's. We don't know who that is. We're not going to do that. But if Joseph is the only one who's related to David, and we can prove it, he's the father. He has to be. He has to be.
It cannot.
No, but look at what you just said.
So that's like saying that he didn't fulfill the prophecy.
But you said that Christ had to be from David.
He is.
Listen.
Yes, but I know where you're going with it. Then you're gonna say, but how is that if Joseph is not his father?
No. If Christ has to be from David according to the flesh, but Mary is not connected to David according to the flesh.
Okay.
How is Christ connected to David according to the flesh?
Because through Joseph. Yes.
So but it's not in the Mary did have sex.
They didn't though. But that's just what you understand. God is bigger than human analogy. God can.
I agree.
Yes.
Now
why you have to come in the front of that and break it down?
It'd be different if you were ignorant. The fact that you acknowledge where you were cut and then continue to proceed in it. No, not even.
Mike, he jerked his hand back when I said that.
No.
He break the law,
bro.
That's your carnality.
Oh my goodness.
No, Brandon.
Yo,
make sure I get your information. Man. Make sure I get. You see, wait, stay right there. King, the only hand I shook.
See, nah, bro. Like that's racist.
He still got the mic. He still got the mic. He jerked his hand back when I said that.
Nah, that's not the love of
you again. You. If we could just, but this ain't about white man enslaving people, so he probably gonna be a lot calmer in this conversation than he was before. All right. The only caveat I ask is that if I ask you a question, please just answer it.
I did. I'm not gonna give you that. Yeah, I'm not gonna give you.
So the text is, the conversation is, Joseph is not the father of Jesus.
Yeah,
I believe, just so you understand, I believe that Mary and Joseph, so I believe the opposite of like immaculate conception and virgin birth.
Yeah.
I believe that Joseph and Mary had sex to bring forth Christ.
Okay.
Do you believe that?
I believe in the virgin birth, the immaculate conception.
Now, which one? The reason why I ask you is because immaculate conception is about Mary.
No, I don't believe that. Sorry. I do not believe in the sinlessness.
So you do know
Mary.
the difference of.
I don't believe in the sinlessness of Mary.
Got you. So you just believe that God made Mary
Catholic
pregnant.
Catechism.
Got you. Okay.
So I believe that both Mary and Joseph are of bring forth the lineage of David. Luke describes Mary, and Matthew describes Joseph. And as you're familiar with, there's a curse in Jeremiah 22 with Jeconiah.
Nowhere in Luke 3, where you see that lineage that's supposed to be Jesus' lineage, does it mention Mary. Nowhere in it. And those names inside of that lineage mention different priests that were not priests, and mention different people. That does not. If this is supposed to be the lineage of Christ, it should match up with Matthew's lineage. Now, the reason why there's issues with Luke did not walk with Christ. He is a second-hand witness. That's why his lineage is suspect. That's why I'm taking that position. Not only does it not match up with Matthew, the same person who's giving this suspect lineage did not walk with Christ. He's hearing second and third-hand information. So when a Christian tells you that, like, oh, that's Mary's lineage, go and ask them where that is. Show me Mary in that lineage. And don't say it don't have to say Mary, because Matthew's does. And not only in Matthew's lineage, it mentions other women. So it's fully capable of mentioning women. So ask them why in Luke does it not mention Mary's lineage there? Why does it not mention this Mary's lineage?
That there's not to be a king from his line.
But you know, both lineages has Salathiel, Zerubbabel in them. Which, if you go by that curse logic, both lineages are cursed.
One's through Nathan, and one's
doesn't matter who they're through.
Yeah, one's through Solomon.
The curse of Jeconiah, which is only talking about that generation, is not talking about perpetual. But both lineages have people from Jeconiah.
To save time, I do believe that the curse is thwarted through that, one going through Nathan, one going through Solomon. But I know that you've gone back and forth probably over this your whole life with Isaiah 7, Alma, Betula, the Septuagint, and Parthenos.
But what I want to ask you about Isaiah 7.
From the Septuagint, which is what the New Testament translates it as.
In Isaiah 7, right? When it says, behold, a virgin shall conceive, which Matthew quotes, right?
Well, it's quoting the Greek Septuagint from the 200s. But
it's quoting the Bible. It's quoting Isaiah 7 and 14.
Yeah.
You do. Well, I don't know if you agree to this or not, but you do know that that's also talking about Isaiah's wife, because and then because you see Emmanuel
or Ahaz, I believe, and Hezekiah. Yeah.
So in Isaiah 7, when it calls Isaiah's wife a virgin, is that her first child?
I do not believe so, off the top of my head.
That's her second child.
Yeah.
So why is she being called a virgin even though she's having sex?
So once again, the word Alma, I know you're familiar with this debate, is that it can mean no, I don't. No, I don't.
Can you answer why she's being called a virgin even though she's having sex?
You about to get a correct answer.
Yeah. So the debate is Alma.
That's
can mean a young
laughing, right?
Alma can mean a young woman, and there's dual fulfillment in Scripture. So I'm sure you've gone back and forth with this debate.
You're not answering my question again, though.
And how's
I am surprised a Christian even says that dual fulfillment. I've only ever heard Hebrew Israelites say. That's crazy. That's
he did.
But you're not answering.
I just told you the word Alma can mean a young woman.
I didn't ask you about Alma.
Yeah,
I'm asking.
That's the word virgin that she's
So you're saying she's called a virgin, not because she hasn't had sex, but because she's a young woman, right? Even though she's having sex.
That word can be used that, and I would.
So that's what I'm saying. So Isaiah said,
off the top of my head, I'm not. I'd have to.
So when you read Isaiah 7:3, I'm an honest man.
Yeah.
When you read Isaiah 7:3, Bir-Jeshub is Isaiah's son.
Well, you're assuming that it's referring to Isaiah, because it could also be referring to King Ahaz. So there's different people that it can refer to. I know we're gonna go back and forth. People can Google this and the arguments there.
Yeah, they're gonna see you running again, man.
No, I just never gonna save time, because we're limited in time. We can go back and forth over that particular. But I'm just saying, you gave your version, I gave what I believe is the correct version, and people can go and search it for themselves.
This flight home is gonna be amazing.
But I did study Greek, and you were talking about John 1, the deity of Christ, etc.
But we talk about the virgin birth right now.
Theos and halagos.
Are we talking about?
This has to do because do you believe that Jesus is God?
No, I don't.
Okay, so this has to do with the divinity of Christ.
If you're not going to hold to the subject,
Greek has syntax and rules. If you have a court of law,
I'd rather talk
you
to
have a
somebody
structure to language.
Like we did Jesus is God in the first round.
Keeps on, I'm writing. Why do y'all do that? Just answer the question. Just answer the question, bro. We doing all this. That remind me. Y'all remember that? If anybody's been watching Sakari for a very long time, I remember when they had a debate about the mark of the beast with I think it's Bruce Labs. He said, "Why are you asking all these carnal ass questions?" That's what these niggas is doing. Why are you asking all these carnal ass questions, man? Yeah, let's go. It's carnal ass. That's what these niggas is doing, bro. Just answer the question.
Language you cannot get around. This is what Jehovah's Witnesses do.
As far as what?
Halagos.
What are you talking about?
This is the Greek. You said look at the Greek earlier. And this if Jesus is the biological son of Joseph.
This is so bad. And
he's not born of a virgin. He doesn't fulfill the prophecy. He's not God. But John 1's very clear. So
okay. So I think I can accept using John 1. So here's how you tying it together. In your logic, Jesus is God based on John 1.
No, not just on that.
No.
Fulfillment of
just stop
hundreds
right there.
of yeah.
Thank you.
Many missed out.
He's John 1. He's God. So if I'm saying that he's born through Joseph and Mary fleshly, then I'm saying he's not God according to John 1. So
because it says the word became flesh.
In John 1:45, they say Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph, correct?
And John 1:45,
yeah,
Jesus, the son of Joseph. I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, when anybody on your time, you read John 1:45, it says, this is of whom the prophets did write, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph. They didn't say adopted son, they said son of Joseph. When you read both lineages that you was talking about in Matthew 1 and Luke 2, both of those are Joseph's lineage.
Luke 3?
Luke 3, right. Yeah. And Luke 3, Heli, and y'all may have to do some research on this.
Heli.
Heli and Jacob are uterine brothers. Heli passed away without having a seed. So in the flesh, Jacob is the physical father of Joseph. In the law of a brother, Heli is the father of Joseph. So when it says, as was supposed.
But what evidence do you have to support that?
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
When it says, as was supposed, the custom of levirate marriage existed throughout Israel. And so anybody can look up Julius Africanus. He's a church father that Eusebius validates. When Eusebius does ecclesiastical history, he backs up Julius Africanus. And Julius Africanus gives the history and declares. Now, I use this when I'm talking to people like you. I mainly just stick to the Bible, but you want a source. So Julius Africanus breaks down both the Matthew and Luke lineage because there was a fight. Like, how could both of them be saying Joseph? And some people was arguing Mary because it says as was supposed. So Julius Africanus did the history of Joseph's line through the house of David and said that Heli and Jacob were uterine brothers. Heli died without a son, so Jacob laid with Heli's wife to raise up seed for him, which was Joseph's. That's why Matthew does from Solomon, because that's the child of the flesh, and Luke does it through the levirate law. So, but both of them are Joseph's lineage. Okay,
thank you for explaining the way that you explain the way you view. I think that's extra biblical, and I do think that
I don't need that.
It's much more natural to have full rights.
The Bible says
either way, Joseph or Mary, but. I'm gonna ask.
Well, don't bring up the church fathers then. Like that. Esau he's got that face that I feel like we know when you land that square punch, it just bounces back like a rebound, right? And it just prepares you for your next one. Don't use the church fathers then. When y'all use the church fathers, you're being scholastic. When we use the church fathers, we're being extra biblical. You know what that is? The same exact thing that Kasab is talking about. Esau, you gave your version. Now I'll give the correct version. I'm right. Let's go to the country club. Bartholomew. I'll bring the BMW up. That's what they do. Don't pull the early church, quote unquote early church fathers and say that's scholarship, but when we do it, we're wrong. It's cool when they do it. It's a problem when we do it. Fuck them, right? Let's continue.
Wait, before you ask me that, I'm gonna get to the big picture.
I'm gonna get to the big picture.
There's no reason
we'll do big picture.
But there's no reason for both Mary and Joseph to be from the house of David, the house of David. All throughout the history, you was an Israelite by your father. So just like Ephraim, Joseph's wife was Egyptian, but Ephraim and Manasseh are Israelites.
Yeah,
so you don't have to have the mother be from the house of David. So there's no prophecy that the mother and father is going to come from the seed of David. It's only that the seed is going to come from
Luke 3
David.
is different, you would agree, than Matthew 1. So, but
Luke
I'm going to go
3,
big
I
picture.
explained
Okay,
it.
so if Jesus is not God, so obviously the Christian position is that we've sinned. You agree that you've sinned? Have you ever sinned in your life? Okay.
Before I found Christ.
Okay,
right?
yeah. So when we die, we need atonement for our sins.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
We need a perfect sacrifice to die for us, to
Correct.
cover all of our
Correct.
sin.
Mhm.
And so Jesus, he died according to the scriptures. He's crucified on the cross, died, buried, rose again from the dead.
Mhm.
So him being God, satisfying. Do you believe in eternal conscious punishment, hell? Do you believe in hell?
No.
Okay.
I believe in hell, but not the way Christians do.
Okay. So after people die, what do you
They
believe?
sleep.
What do you believe? Okay. Do you believe that there's punishment for their sins?
When they're born back on this earth.
Okay.
Through reincarnation. When a child is born,
Okay.
that's where you serve out your punishment or your hell.
Okay.
That's the Bible.
Okay. So you believe that currently people are being reincarnated, or they're going to sleep and then be reincarnated?
So Ecclesiastes 12:7, when you die, you sleep. That's why even Christ, when God spoke to David, he said, when you sleep with your fathers, I will raise up seed after you. And then when it's time for you to be born back, you're born back. John the Baptist is an example of that. John the Baptist at one time was Elijah, and he was born as John, though.
Okay. So Matthew 25, it speaks of eternal, everlasting life and everlasting destruction. And I know that you would probably take the position that, what do you believe in the lake of fire in Revelation?
That's America burning.
Okay. It's interesting. Thank you. It's just, I've never heard that before. I've never heard that before. A bit shocked. Okay. Well, obviously, just for the sake of our audience, for the sake of our,
blue is mine.
Yeah. For the sake of our,
it's like Christians don't believe America's in the Bible, which is absolutely crazy to me. That's why they're saying things. Well, I just can't believe it. But Christians don't believe America's in the Bible. The most powerful nation to ever exist, to be the greatest world power on this earth at one point, is not in the Bible according to Christians. But there's a mysterious Babylon we see in Revelation, but that's somehow not America. It kills me. It kills me with Christianity, bro. I'm telling you, it just does.
Our audience. Okay. Yeah, God is just.
I thank the Most High, man. He made me for this work.
God is just, and he must punish sin. And so whether it's Hitler or people that, whatever sin we've committed.
Hitler be punished in either in that life he had or in the reincarnation, he'll be punished.
Okay. And so God's going to punish us for everything we've done, every word we've ever
Everybody
spoken,
gets punished.
our thought, word, and deed.
I agree.
And the Bible talks about the lake of fire, Revelation chapter 19
hey, let me
through
ask you
21.
a question, right? When it talks about the lake, wait,
atoned for our sin by dying for us.
Come on, we having a good back and forth.
Well,
a question on the lake.
This is my last. I want to give them a chance.
I'm
just going to finish.
I want you to
this
say
up,
that.
And then
wait,
you
I
can
just need to ask you this real fast. Thank you.
Yeah.
Isn't death and hell going into the lake of fire?
Yes.
So what is death and hell then? So this lake of fire got to be big.
Yeah. So
how does death? Yeah. How does death go into the lake of fire? Isn't death a state of being?
So in the book of Luke, obviously you have Abraham, and then you have Abraham's bosom, and you have a place of Hades.
Shout out to Yoshi. This brother Yoshi gave me that question. I told him I would ask it and give him credit.
No, so there's going to be Hades transitioning to the lake of fire. So
no, it says they're getting thrown into it.
No,
so they're taking death, they're taking hell,
currently there's
throwing
Hades.
It into the lake of fire. He's throwing it in there.
Currently there's
so
Hades.
He's gonna pick death up. Like he's picking death up and throwing it into the lake.
So the rich man and Lazarus.
He's picking hell up and throwing it into the lake.
So yeah, in the book of Luke, you have the rich man and you have Lazarus, right? You familiar with this?
That's a parable, man.
And and the book of Psalms and the Old Testament, they talk about
when he
Hades.
says the sorrows of hell compassion
Isaiah
about.
Talks
That's
about
David said
Tophet.
that, right?
And so there's a place that people go when they die, and they will go to heaven or hell. And then, and in the end,
we're gonna see that.
In the end, in the book of Revelation,
went to heaven and hell?
There's a lake of fire.
Anybody got a report back from heaven and hell?
So let me take you from what we do know, the natural. So do you believe that God has judged nations throughout history?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can look and you can tire side up.
But devil, where did he do that at? He did that on earth. That's why Ecclesiastes says under the sun is a place of judgment.
Israel, etc. So if we
Right.
believe God for the present historical judgments that he made, obviously you can go to Israel, you can look at all the archaeology, you can go to Iraq, Afghanistan, etc., Syria, see the destruction that took place. So if we believe God for the natural judgment, therefore we conjecture that yes, there's eternal judgment. And also God put in you and me a conscience, Romans
Not
chapter
the same conscience.
Romans chapter 2, a desire for justice.
He put a dishonorable conscience in you.
And so because he's given everybody a conscience that's going to answer to God one day, if the natural judgments have occurred, we believe in an eternal sense of justice that Hitler will answer for his crimes. If he got out of it easy through suicide, if that's
he might be.
Also, I think it's Riley 484. I don't believe that's a supernatural conception. This is women doesn't have seed. That's where Christians go to try to support the virgin birth. That's going like Genesis 3 is a whole breakdown, right? The woman's seed that it's making reference to is just their like her descendants. It's a whole breakdown, but no, it's not a supernatural birth.
Whatever it is,
blind or with one toe, one limb, one arm.
That wouldn't be justice. And so God is holy, and because he is holy, he must punish sin perfectly. And so Christ fulfilled that perfectly, and therefore he's the only hope that I have. He is the only hope that I have of everlasting life. Anybody, the whole world. And that way, on the cross, because he was God, he could bear the wrath of God and take people's hell.
Who was he praying to?
And they rose from the dead. So
who was he praying to?
That's my big picture.
Who was he praying to?
And I think that your big picture falls short of that.
Who was he praying to?
If anybody else wants to,
who was he praying to
go, I
think you just wanted to talk to me. You didn't want to actually have a conversation.
Well, we did have
who
a
was
bit.
He praying to?
I'm trying to be gracious if they would like to talk.
Who was he praying to?
Anybody
Can
else
you answer that? You can't answer that.
Go? Okay. Yeah. I just want to be gracious to give them time.
Yeah, be gracious.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh God, the Armenians back.
What's up, man? What's up?
You know what? I was just thinking about like looking at some of the questions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't mind me saying, I think part of the reason why I think your argument is flawed is because you try to mix the spiritual world with the history of the world, which is so propagandized to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're talking about how, brown people and black people were forced into Christianity, which is kind of like our narrative in this country. We all understand that there was slavery and slave ships and people were forced into.
I want to highlight something. So he says, where I think your argument is flawed is where you try to mix history with the spiritual and the supernatural. The reason why we do that is because the prophets told us about watching and waiting for what the Lord is going to do. We see that played out through history. This is an example of that. Let me zoom in so y'all can see that. All right. So this is 2 Ezra 9. I'm just going to start from the top. It says, he answered me and said, measure carefully in your mind, and when you see that some of the predicted signs have occurred, then you will know that it is the very time when the Most High is about to visit the world that he has made, right? So the things that we're measuring and weighing, right, are the predicted signs. That's the prophecies. There's prophecies about a new Babylon, a mystery Babylon. It names that in basically damn near the latter half of Revelation. We're looking for that, right? We should be looking for that. The prophecies in Jeremiah, Isaiah, various other ones mention a new Babylon that isn't the one that we knew in the past, right? Luke chapter 21, Christ talks about when you see Jerusalem compassed with armies, right? Just know the desolation is nigh. Christ gave a prophecy about what will happen to Jerusalem, which we also see in Daniel chapter 9, about the abomination of desolations, Jerusalem will be sacked, temple will be sacked, right? We have to wait for things to happen in history to show that God is sovereign and true. We're waiting for these things. Why would Christ give a prophecy if something's going to happen if we're just not supposed to pay attention to it? If we're not supposed to look around at what's transpired in history and what's going to happen now or in the future. What's happening now and what's going to happen in the future. Like Christians, the thing is, Christians really just don't believe in Christ. Right? But let me get this too. So And this, I'm gonna make this one short and concise. So in Revelation 19 and 10, it says, and I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and thy brethren that have the testimony of Jesus. Worship God, for the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. Right? Now, what is this ultimately saying? People who are Christians, they carry the testimony of Jesus or testimony of Christ. Right? That testimony comes from the spirit of prophecy. So to be in alignment with this spirit of prophecy and be in alignment with the testimony of Christ, you would be attuned to prophecy. You'll be waiting for and looking for prophecy, right? That's why these Christians cannot possibly be really followers of Christ. Y'all are not in tune with prophecy or waiting for it. Y'all just say love, 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 peace, 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 while at the same time believing and probably are white supremacists and white nationalists. Let's keep it a buck, right? So, and look at this. This is going to follow that to give you a direct example of what I'm talking about. It's either James or it's Peter. I always get these confused. 1 Peter chapter 1. When you look at 1 Peter 1 at the trial of your faith. Okay, check this out. So 1 Peter 1:7, it says that the trial of your faith being much more precious than of gold that perisheth. Now, I'm reading this in ESV. That's a just enough KJV for me. So so that the tested genuineness of your faith more precious than gold that perisheth, though it be tested by fire, may be found to result in praise and glory and honor at the revelation of Jesus Christ. Though you have not seen him, you love him. That's just like how we are. We haven't literally seen Christ physically, right? Though we love him by actually carrying the testimony of him and believing in him and believing in what he told us to do. That's why we keep such things, right? Though you have not seen him, you love him. Though you do not now see him, you believe in him and rejoice with joy that is inexpressible and filled with glory, obtaining the outcome of your faith, the salvation of your souls. Concerning this salvation, the prophets who prophesied about the grace that was to be yours searched and inquired carefully, right? So the prophets all testified of Christ and what he would do and how he would save and deliver his people. So the people who are actually disciples of Christ, they waited for these things. That's what we do. What's also a part of these things? The judgment of the heathen. What will happen to the heathen? You see in Wisdom of Solomon 18:7, it talks about those who are righteous accepted both the salvation of the righteous and the destruction of the heathen, the destruction of the unrighteous. Wherewith he had favor on us, he also punished these people. That's what a true Christian would do. That's the prophecy and mindset and spirit true Christians would be in attune to. That's why Peter is saying this. The prophets prophesied about the salvation that will come to us and the grace that we inquire of and that they inquire of. Right? Is inquiring what person or time the spirit of Christ in them. That's why it says the testimony of Christ is the spirit of prophecy. The time that inquiring what person or time the spirit of Christ in them was indicated when he predicted the sufferings of Christ and the subsequent glories. Right? I could really keep on going with that, but the point is really proven. The testimony of Christ was inside of these prophets, and they prophesied about him. And part of that prophesying is like Isaiah 61, where it talks about the year of the redeemed and the day of vengeance. We're looking for these things. We're waiting for these prophecies. That's why in 2nd Ezra chapter 9, it said, measure the time diligently, because then you will know when the Most High is supposed to come. When the Most High comes, it's the year of the Lord's redeemed and the day of vengeance. A true Christian is waiting for those things. But y'all are not that. That's why y'all say things like how he said. So let's go back into this.
Doing stuff that was not necessarily what they wanted to do at the time.
Right.
But I think that's where your argument's flawed, because I think there's so much propaganda in history where, like, when I sat down here and I was like, all right, like my people, our ancestors, they look white skinned like me, but they were treated violently. They were treated like slaves. They're still subjugated to a lot of that. I think there's a holistic view of what has really happened on this planet that's missing from your argument, honestly.
Well, when you brought up your history, I didn't fight you on your history. When we bring up our history, that's when we get fought on our history. That's when it's called propaganda. Like when you call my history propaganda.
Well, no, I wouldn't call your history propaganda. I could see a similar reality to. I could see a parallel reality to what. So Black people.
Valid? Also, Rick Johnson, Caleb was an Israelite. That's why he's in that lineage. Even the scholars understand that. When you look at it, when you look at his name right here, right? Look at this Strong's definition. We see this. It says the name of 3 Israelites. Even the scholars attest to him being an Israelite. So Rick Johnson, are you white, black? What you got going on? I just started paying attention to say he's an equal opportunity employer. The Lord is not an equal opportunity employer. I don't know what book you're reading to think that like Yahweh is the equal opportunity employer. I don't see that. Nowhere in the text, right? And if that was the case, we wouldn't see things like this. Deuteronomy 4:19. Right? Deuteronomy 4:19. And lest thou lift up. Oh no, I'm not reading that, KJV. It says, and beware lest you raise up your eyes to heaven, and when you see the sun and the moon and the stars, all the hosts of heaven, you be drawn away and bow down to them and serve them, things that the Lord your God has allotted to all the peoples under the whole heaven. So they were allotted the sun, moon, and stars. That's what the heathen were given. We were given the Father, right? Watch this. But the Lord has taken you, Israel, and brought you out of the iron furnace, out of Egypt, to be a people of his own inheritance, as you are this day. So that doesn't sound like equal employment to me, right? It doesn't, right? But Rick, I want to like I'd like to do this. Are you willing to get a link to see if the Lord is an equal opportunity employer? Are you interested in that? I'd like to see that, right? And just know when that happens, we're not going to just read New Testament verses. We're going to look at the whole Bible when we do that. Equal opportunity employer. That's great. What was the point of him electing people? Why did God like we have to really think about things like this? What was the point? What was the point of God electing a nationality and no one else was elected? And part of this election is that you have the law, statutes, and commandments, and this is what makes you righteous. How is that equal opportunity? Like, if it was equal opportunity, he would have given everybody the Torah. Matter of fact, just real quick. No, actually, I'm gonna wait. Rick Johnson, if y'all's an equal opportunity employer, I'm giving you an equal opportunity to catch a link if you would like a link. I'll wait. But as I wait, because you're going to have to answer some questions. You got some explaining to do. We're going to play the video, but you're going to have some explaining to do.
Yeah. Am I valid in my complaint?
I think you're taking what's in the spiritual realm and trying to make sense of it.
No, before we get to the spiritual world, am I valid in my complaint about what I say about how we receive Christianity Am I valid?
You're valid in your complaint, but that is something that wasn't exclusive to
I never said it was exclusive. That's why when you said about the Armenians, I never said you were wrong. So even as you try to be honest, you got to throw white people in there. I'm not talking about white people. I'm not talking about your condition, because I never took away from what happened to you.
Yeah.
Second question: do you think that if we would have ever gotten,
you know, I see you typing in the chat, right? You know, look, exactly. He Shalawam, the water brother. It's the water brother for your gracious donation, man. For your gracious donation. May the Lord bless you 100-fold, 1,000-fold, man. Right. But he don't want to, and like I just have questions, right? I don't have to be proud about it. It's like when I read the Bible, I don't see Yah as a equal opportunity employer, just logically. When I just read it, but if you isolate the New Testament, I see how you can say that, right? But when you add in the other parts, it's gonna get real problematic. It's gonna get real problematic, man. I just got questions. I just have questions.
Any form of retribution, whether it be a sovereign apology or something like that, do you think that would have allowed Black people to get over that condition?
You know, that's something that actually is a very relevant question to my ancestors, because
see how you keep adding your ancestors. I'm not talking about your ancestors right now.
No,
if we was talking about,
I am notoriously horrible for checking my own Instagram. I check the camp Instagram. I am notoriously horrible for checking my Instagram. Brothers need to text me. I will forget. I promise you that. It's not ill will. I'm not ignoring you. I am notoriously horrible for that. I will tell you that.
Armenians, I wouldn't talk about Black people at all.
Yeah.
So stop. Like, you ain't got to bring up your people. Your people know you love your people.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, if we would have gotten a more sovereign apology.
That's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah,
we've been waiting for a sovereign apology for like 2,000 years, because all that's happened in 2,000 years. If you look at the history of the original Christians,
this man love talking about himself.
Well, not about myself. I'm saying it's a universal.
I'm just talking about Black people.
I'm saying it's a universal.
But we're not talking universal. We're compartmentalizing this conversation.
Okay. That's not a.
So I'm gonna try one more time. If we would have gotten a sovereign apology, do you think we then would have been able to get over what happened to us?
Probably, yeah, and
right.
We're also waiting for that sovereign apology after having 80%.
Okay, I get it.
80% of our civilization destroyed.
So now the spirit side. When we talk about the spirit, right? Hosea 4:6 says, "My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge."
For lack of knowledge, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for Black people, Latinos,
Native Americans, Mexicans, my
knowledge
God.
that
they're Armenian. They're Armenian. I didn't even know that. Yeah, we've had enough. Oh my God, I did not know that, Kazak.
We have been destroyed from is spiritual. We've been destroyed from identifying who we are in the Bible. The very book that we've been given identifies every race of people in the Bible.
Rick, I asked you a question about equal opportunity. I asked you, do you want a link to talk about this equal opportunity? Whether or not he's a Kenizzite, right? Because that could be explained. I asked you, because you said he is an equal opportunity employer. Would you like a link to talk about him being an equal opportunity employer? Because what's going to happen is, if you're going to continue to be in here and then say things that are incorrect and not true, you're going to have to sit in timeout. So you have two options. You can catch the link and talk about this equal opportunity. These apparently the Lord's doing DI hires. These DI hires, right? Like how Charlie Kirk was saying, right? Or we can sit in timeout. It's one or the other, right? I'm the ball's in your court, right? Bakwash, it's a Yadi, Israel with DI. Israel will be an equal opportunity employer in the kingdom. It's kingdom, in the kingdom. But we're gonna I'm gonna be equal opportunity employer. Y'all,
it identifies the Africans, the Europeans.
My bad, I didn't mean unpause the video. You're gonna equally, serve all the various places that I own equally. All y'all gonna have a chance. You don't have to worry about a DEI hire in that day.
Asians and us, but we're not told who we are according to the Bible. So what the Most High has revealed to my school, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, is that we are the children of Israel. This is who the other people of the children of Israel are. In the Northern Hemisphere, North Central and South America, did I say the right hemisphere? I don't want nobody to say I did it wrong. In North Central and South America, the children of Israel is the blacks, Native Indians, and Latinos. So we go out to spiritually.
I gave you a chance.
I don't understand.
Because that's what we can identify through biblical prophecy and then through historical records. So we don't just go by the Bible, we look at history too. Now, does that mean that there are not Israelites in Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australia?
Are you talking about Israel? It's like literally descending
I'm talking
from
about, from the 12 tribes, from the children of Israel.
Yeah.
So now, do we have Israelites in the other continents? Yes, we have we have schools in the other continents. So I'm not negating Europeans or anything like that. I'm just saying in North Central and South America, this is who they are. So we go give them a spiritual awakening. With that spiritual awakening, once you find out your identity, you got to find out how you lost your identity. We lost our identity through disobedience to God. So if being disobedient to God is breaking his commandments, then the only way to get right with God is to keep his commandments.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we go about doing. Now, in the middle of that, we have to bring awareness to who destroyed that identity. That's when we start getting to the Africans that sold us, because the white man did not come into the continent.
Yeah,
it was an African that brought us to the coast and sold us. So I hate Africans too.
Mm-hmm.
The Arabs that assisted in making them ships, I hate them Arabs too. And then the white man that finished the job. So we have to bring out that history. So when you bring out the Armenian history, it's to make people aware of what happened to your ancestors. If the Jewish man bring out the German history, it's to make their people aware of what the Germans did to their ancestors. But when we bring out that history, it's like we ain't supposed to say nothing. It's like you gotta let the past collect. Like that's a collective. So it's not like you may not feel that way. You might feel it's okay to do that. So I'm not speaking in a one-to-one. I'm speaking in general consensus.
Like you're talking about an American,
temporary American culture.
Yeah.
We can't bring that up. Temporary American culture, if black people fight for reparations, which I don't think we'll never get, we're told you're not supposed to do that. But I can read how the New York governor gave millions of dollars to Holocaust survivors, even though America didn't cause the Holocaust, but they still would do that. So they can understand pain, but then they can't understand our pain.
Yeah.
I could see them whitewashing.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, so I could see them. Yeah. I could see them whitewashing slavery, when in certain schools they teach not transatlantic slave trade, but transatlantic migration. So it's
Texas is one of those. Texas is one of those states that does that, right? And I said that in the last live stream. Like we used to learn Texas history from like raw white people enslaved y'all. Like that's what it was when I was in middle school. Now when I got into high school, that changed. It became transmigration. It became they just migrated here and were indentured servants. Like how the Irish were. That's madness. That's madness, right? And I want to show this too because I've been on this for a good we got most of it, right? I've been on this for a minute, right? I want to show y'all something. So when you have Hebrew Israelites who want to be Christians, they pull up things like Caleb. Now I want to show y'all something because they'll say oh, he's a Kenizzite. Those are Edomites. Let me show you how you deal with this. Because there was various people in the Bible who had the same exact name as heathens. There are Israelites who are named Ishmael. So when their descendants have a child, they're going to be whatever their name is, son of Ishmael. Does that make them an Ishmaelite? No. There were people named Ishmael who are Israelites. It's the same exact thing with Caleb. Let me show you how you prove that. Right, when you look at this, it says Caleb, right, son of Jephunneh, right? When you look at this, when you look at Jephunneh, right, son of Jether, a descendant of Asher, right? These are all Israelites, two Israelites, right? Let's look at another thing. Now it says the Kenizzites, the Kenzite. That's where they go to try to play a game. Where is this? Okay, right. When you look right here, where this name comes from, like Kenaz, right? There is an Edomite named Kenaz. Oh, wait a minute, Caleb's an Edomite. He's half Israelite and half Esau. No, that's why you see another usage, the brother of Caleb and the father of Othniel, right? Now it says the name of an Edomite and of 2 Israelites. He is a descendant of one of these Israelites. That's not difficult. That's why the scholarship, when you go back into the name Caleb, when you look in the Strong's or the Brown's Driver Briggs lexicon, they always say he's an Israelite. The only people who say he's not one are Christians who want to play games and Hebrew Israelites who want to say Edomites. That's the only reason why this happens. Now, I said Ishmael. Let me see if I can find. I think Ishmael was one that's like that as well. Right. Ishmael, I think. I may have just used that as an example, but I think there's one with Ishmael as well. Yeah. See, there's one. Right? Abraham's oldest son, Ishmael. Then you have 5 other Israelites named Ishmael. One's a Judite, another one's a Judite, right? Various different people who are named Ishmael. Does that mean that they're Ishmaelites? Does that mean that they descend from the man, the literal man who birthed the Ishmaelite nation? No. That's not difficult to understand. Like we did not recognize people as in the Bible. We did not recognize people as half-breeds. That's why Moses' children from that Ethiopian wife that he had, they were reckoned as Levi. Why? Because Moses was in Levite. That's basic Israelite history. That's not difficult. That's not something that's hard to conceptualize, right? That's all you have to do to break that down. That's very easy. We're gonna listen to a nigga. We're gonna listen to what actual scholarship says, right? Now, secondly, I wanted to save this for when Rick got on here, but he ran like a coward. I kept asking him, does he want a link? He does not want a link because they know what happens. A lot of these Hebrews like Christians, and a lot of these Christians know what happens when you catch a link. You can't say I yell over people because I'm a very calm individual unless you take me there. Right? And anybody who's been watching me for 5+ years, you know when I get there, I get there. But you have to take me there. You know what will happen when you get this link, you will get embarrassed, and then it will be bad for you. You have to live the rest of your life on camera being destroyed. That's why brothers keep on asking the same question over and over again instead of saying I'm a coward. That's why he did what he did. But since he didn't do that and I put him in timeout, I gave the answer about Caleb. So I don't want to just leave people in the dark. This is putting people's body back. But God, man, I've been going for 3+ hours. We pretty much got it. So I want to say this. There's a few things on the pipeline. Oh, I almost messed that. I almost X'd out of everything, even alive. So what I want to say, what I got coming down the pipeline, either tomorrow or Sunday, most likely Sunday, because I know myself. Trump and his regime that he has in Texas right here, these Judeo-Christian Republicans who want to Christianize the damn world. They just passed something in Texas today, making it to where they have to be taught the Bible in school. I'm avidly against it. I hate it. I don't want Christians to teach my child the Bible because we know what happens when we do that, right? God loves everybody. Jesus is white. Let's celebrate Christmas. Let's celebrate Easter. It's not happening, right? I'm pretty sure the Democrats are going to go after them, so I'm not worried about that. But what they're also doing out here, Hot Wheels, Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas. I live in Texas. The governor of Texas, Hot Wheels, right? He's in a wheelchair. That's why they call him Hot Wheels, right? They had some protesters who protested an ICE, I'm gonna say what it is, concentration camp, and the lightest of things happened. One person grazed an officer with their gun. Other people just shot off fireworks. people were given 100 years. I need y'all to understand that. These people were given, well, one person was given 100 years, another one, the rest of them who were there given 50 years, right? And another one who was there, who wasn't there, but who was a part of the friend group in their messages, was given 30 years, even though he didn't commit a crime. That needs to be talked about, right? Because the reason why they're throwing the book at him like that is because of the image of the beast. They were protesting Trump's oppressive and racist regime that he uses to oppress people of color, specifically I guess you could say the Hispanics in Texas. That's mostly what they do with ICE. They do that with them. They oppress them. They collect people who are Hispanic here, don't check their papers, don't check anything, don't give them any due process, and throw them inside of these ICE concentration camps. They protested that, and the people who wasn't even there were given 30 years. And it's not because of what they did, it's because of what they represent. They represent being against this regime and the image of this beast, which Texas represents, which really comes from what Trump represents. Because none of this was going on to this degree, none of this was going on in Texas prior to Trump taking office, whether it be this time or the second time, which leads me to believe I'm gonna say all of that when I go into it. It's like this thing called Pinkerton's law or something like that, where they can round people up. If one person does something bad, who has that same ideology as you, they can round other people up and charge them for that literally the same crime, even though you didn't commit it. You know how easy they could do for that with Hebrew Israelites? They could just stage a Hebrew Israelite doing some crazy stuff and say, oh, we're Hebrew Israelites, so now we're going to round up Hebrew Israelites. That's where that starts. That needs to get talked about. Also, like I said in the beginning of this, San Antonio, Kanye West is trying to have a concert on the 4th in San Antonio. It's on a Saturday. And the mayor, I think it's the mayor, right? She's been trying to get this concert canceled for the longest. And you know why that is? She collects small hat money. She has sold out for shekels, right? If you know what I mean, if you can read between the lines, you know exactly what I mean. She is sold out for shekels. Now, since everybody in San Antonio don't give a damn about none of that, and they keep trying to have little events and try to get people to show up to get it canceled and things like that, and nobody's doing anything, but she keeps on trying to get it canceled, that shows you and gives you an eye about who runs this world. Both of these things are connected, really. It goes into the image of the beast. The image of the beast represents white Christianity and white patriotism, like what everything Trump represents. That's damn near the image of the beast, right? But also these people who spend money in shekels, right? These people who do things like that. When you say things about them, there's always repercussions. You can say the N-word on TV. You can call Hispanic people the S-word on TV, but you can't say anything bad about the shekel users, the goyim abusers, right? You can't say anything bad about them. Why? Because they're a part of this image of the beast. This is where that starts. When you read in Second Ezra about they're making war with the people who believe in God, that's when we will know. I'm paraphrasing. That's when we will know who the true children of God are, when they survive this and when this is happening. That's where that starts. I need people to understand that. So I want to talk about that and show how this could really be applicable to Hebrew Israelites. Kanye West apologized to small hats and to the shekel users and goyim abusers, right? He did all of that multiple places, multiple times, and they're still trying to get this man canceled, which shows you who runs this world. That's going to be talked about. Secondly, I want to react to the IUIC debate that the brother showed me in the last live. I purposely have not watched it so all of that can be organic. I want to talk about that. I also know Trump with the war going on, that there is no going to be no peace for. Yesterday, Iran attacked America's ships in the Straits of Hormuz, and today America attacked them again. The war is still on. That needs to get talked about. There's so many things that are pressing that I want to talk about throughout this week. And on top, I want to save that one for last because I know Trump is probably going to do or say something stupid in between these 7 days, as he's on his deathbed. You know, as we've seen it, because like we've seen how that man's been looking on screen, and we're looking at the way he's slurring his words. He's looking like a man who's 1 foot out here with us and another foot in the grave. Right? That looks like he's a sick man. But we're gonna deal with all that. I want to touch all of those things specifically because it's wild out here, boy. I tell you, right now. And with that, and I want to preface this because I know how people do. I'm not advocating, and neither do Hebrew Israelites advocate of just all of us getting together and rioting against the government. Because number one, we will never win that way. God tells us multiple times how that'll never work for us. And 3, we're waiting on the Lord to deliver us. He's going to do that. The prophets always talk about how he's going to take us from here and back to our land and occupy it. So we're not telling people to do anything like against the government, right? You know, we're going to render unto Caesar's what Caesar's. But what we do teach our people is Black, Spanish, Native Americans over here and the diaspora Israelites from that are scattered abroad. There's going to be a day when we're delivered, and the Lord's going to take care of y'all. It's not going to be us, right? So that's pretty much what I got on the pipeline coming up, and I got some more content I want to do. I also want to do my Daniel 9 breakdown as well. I got content ideas. I got a lot of those. Right. I also want to do a video. No, I'll save that. I'll let that be a surprise. That's pretty much all I got so far. Yeah, that's pretty much what I got so far. I can remember. So, like the video. It's free. If you haven't liked it, like that video. Like, there's no reason. If you believe in God, you believe when we're preaching, there's no reason for you to not hit that like button. Right? There's no reason. Just hit that like button. Leave a comment in the comment section. If you be on your heart, leave a super chat or super thanks. Really a super thanks till we about to be wrapping up right now. Right. If you want to support us directly without giving YouTube your money, Cash App the Masada DTX. Right. Be on the lookout. I got great content coming up. I got a lot of different ideas. So I gotta go into this review. All praise to you, brother. All praise to the Most High for you. All right. But with that, I'm going to say, call Allah Yahweh, Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shai, and Shalawam.